the White House, President Eisenhower signs the proclamation that makes Alaska's entry into the Union official, nearly 92 years after Lincoln's Secretary of State bought the territory from the Russian Tsar for $7 million.
I just want to give a shout out before the show starts to all the sponsors, all the local businesses that have been coming through to help us out and get this thing started. Thank you to you guys.
Total Truck Accessory Center. Go check them out at 7700 Homer Drive. They're your one-stop shop for canopies, spray-in bed liners, LED light bars, and more. Total Truck.
The TreehouseAK.com. Located at 341 Boniface Parkway. They're your all-in-one cannabis and CBD store. Ask the bartender today what the strain of the day is to get your 10% off.
Lawn Pro AK, your year-round professional property maintenance. Cutting lawns, but not cutting quality. Hit them up at lawnproak.com.
Double Shovel Cider Company, located off of Arctic and 58th. Handcrafted, Alaskan-made cider. They also got a tap room downtown on the corner of 5th and E. Check them out, doubleshovelcider.com.
Anchortown Dogs, located across from the 4th Avenue Theater in front of the historical building. Look for the blue and gold umbrella. Get yourself a legit reindeer dog.
Tailored Restoration, helping Alaskans restore their dreams. Voted #1 in the state since 1972. Water restoration, fire restoration, remodeling, cleaning, anything that you have to do with your home, inside and outside, give those guys a call or check out tailoredrestoration.com.
There it is.
Unana.
What's my name?
Unana.
Well, I think it's official. We have to make a Caribou Call t-shirt.
Yeah, I told you it's a movement.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah, it's going to turn into that. I have no doubt. I'm seeing on Instagram, like once a week, somebody's mentioning something. I'm like, okay, it's catching on.
Yeah.
It really is.
How you doing, B?
Good. Good. I'm whooped, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Had to
Spring-
muster it up tonight.
Spring's coming in hot.
It is, man. It's hit me in the face. I'm like, the shit's about to hit the fan. And I'm not really ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of fans, like you better just make sure your fans work. It's getting hot now in
Dude.
the house.
Yeah. Sweating driving around in the truck today.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. Saw 60 on the 60 degrees in the pickup. So
Yeah.
T-shirt weather finally.
yeah, man, the kids got me run ragged, dude.
I
Right
bet.
now.
Out
Yeah.
biking and
Oh, I love it. Now the kids are outside riding their bikes. Man, it's like a full. There's like 20 kids on my street, and they're just going back and forth. Skateboards, bikes, Nerf guns, balls, Foursquare.
Yeah.
It's just endless.
Still stomping in the what's left of the snow berms in the circle.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
snowball. Just get the last little snowball fight in. Yeah, they're going.
now they're older than just jumping in puddles.
Yeah, they're actually like playing games with the chalk, like setting up the Foursquare and things like that, and like setting up the baseball game. And
It's organized.
yeah, like I see one of them tell the someone parked in the cul-de-sac, and one of the kids told the guy, "Could you move? We're about to play a kickball game."
Kind of in space here.
Yeah, the spring energy is contagious. I mean, LAS is popping. You know, people are getting the boats in the water. Today, it went from 4 feet of snow last week in my yard to where I have to rake it.
Yeah,
In less than a week. It's pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, it came in fast. I think it really officially hit last Saturday.
yeah,
And I think it's later compared to what it's been the last couple of years. I think we got blessed with some early springs and, water breaking out, and guys were getting out fishing and doing their thing more, a lot earlier than they're used to. This year seems like it was a lot like what we're used to growing up,
yeah,
and it's still a month from being green.
yeah.
Like the snow is going to melt by middle of next week. It'll pretty much be gone, but it'll still take all of them another month before it finally flourishes.
Then you hit the muck and yuck trail season. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
Is that another like mountain bike lingo thing?
No,
Oh,
that's just,
okay.
you know, you can't get on those trails without digging a hole. It's like you're a moose walking around, leaving these long, deep imprints. You're drilling little mud wells and getting all your shit dirty.
Yeah.
And people don't realize, you know, you think it's all good, and then you go hit the back trails in the shade.
Oh, it's still.
And there's still ice and snow.
Yeah.
Or if there isn't, it's muck and wet. And, yeah, it's kind of shitty. But everybody just plugs away and it'll.
I get excited about switching the garage up.
Oh,
like full OCD.
Oh, yeah.
Just put like the shovels back in the shed and the ice
Such a
auger
good
in the
feeling.
shed and the sleds in the shed and pull the other stuff out and like turn the 4-wheeler on and you know oil it up and just
Charge the battery.
get fully ready for the full change out. Sweep the garage.
What are the pieces of gear that you bring in that you get most stoked about?
I start looking at the fly fishing rods. You know, I start pulling them down. Like, I better get the line on this before. The 4-wheeler, too, because we got a little 4-wheeling trip this Saturday. That's probably the main one. The trailer's dried off. I'm ready to just load that thing up and go ride.
Good.
Yeah, it's exciting.
I was super excited to get my camping chairs out of the shed. They were kind of in the way. I put the ice auger in there because I got that now.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, where the fuck am I going to put this? I didn't think about that. I was like, they're awkward. You can't like stand them up.
Yeah. I left mine standing up in the shed, like between two beams, and I put like
supporting the
like 2 little screws on both sides and put like a little rope or like a little bungee right there. So it just won't, like, it can tilt a little bit because the kids were in and out of there getting stuff. So just not going to get knocked over.
Yeah.
I've seen people screw in those big hooks too and hang off handles.
That'd be the
that's a
move.
good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm kind of made it work, and to put it where it needed to go, I got my camp chairs out, and I was like, once these come out, man, you know what's on.
Yeah. I think one of the things is the firewood. I know I've been hitting you up, like, where can I get this firewood? Because I like to be loaded up. Pro tip, I like to be loaded for the summer, like a cord or two. And I normally go through about 2 cords in the summer.
Yeah, easy.
And so I'd like to get the first one in, stack, loaded, ready to go. So when it's go time for camping, it's just load up the tote and we're ready to ride.
Yeah. And it seems like you kind of have to do that anyway, because it just, needless to say, about half the time you come back with partially seasoned wood. So now you're seasoning wood you just got. You got to get that second load in.
Yeah. Yeah, we need we need that legit firewood guy.
Yeah.
You
Thought
know?
we found him last year.
Yeah. It's questionable.
You had a little
at
mishap
times.
there.
Yeah, I ended up getting. We're not going to say the guy's name, but I ended up getting some of that spruce beetle kill, and we had it in the house because we like to have fires in the house, in the wintertime. You know, on the weekends at night, and just have the fire going. And I kept seeing these bugs like by the light, by the lamp, and I'm like, where are these bugs coming from? And then I realized like those are spruce beetles coming out of the spruce beetle kill that I bought from this guy. And I was like, what the fuck, dude? I was so mad.
Yeah.
I had to put it outside, and like now there's like who knows how many. I actually just found, I think hopefully the last one. Like,
Well, now
a
you
week
spread
ago.
them into the neighborhood, and now they're gonna.
Yeah, and now I'm like,
trees
what kind of
everywhere.
damage did I do to these people around the neighborhood with that? You know,
He's been slinging that wood for a couple of years, so I mean that's what all spruce is in South Central Alaska anymore. Anyway, is
Yeah.
spruce beetle kill.
yeah, but some of them don't have it. Like they've already moved on to the next tree, and you
Yeah.
can get some that doesn't have it. But I'd definitely be aware of that, and it's hard to tell because they're like inside of there. You can't
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
see it. You know.
Yeah. Maybe some viewers can throw down some names.
Oh,
About
Yeah.
outfits.
If you're a wood guy and you got some dry birch, I really like birch over the spruce personally. But if you got it, please hit us up. Let us know on Instagram. We're at our email Alaska Wild Project, and let us know, and we'll blast you out because man, we're looking. We got about 10 cords to buy right now between probably us 4.
homie hooked it up though. I mean, I think you pull up and just he brings the little loader over and fills your truck to the brim.
Yeah, I've got some good wood from him before.
Yeah,
It's hit or miss.
I mean, that's a
I think
bummer that you had the beetle thing, but you know,
It's hit or miss for sure.
Just go
Fire.
birch. Just go birch.
Yeah. But sometimes it's hard to find. And I'm willing to spend a little bit more if it's
Some
dry
good,
and
some
ready.
good stuff.
You know, don't say it's dry when it's not.
Oh, totally.
It rarely is. I mean, these guys aren't covering their stuff, and You know how it is in Alaska. Between the the fall, the freeze, the thaws, the rain during the winter, the snow melt, then the spring. The shit isn't just always trying to dry in a wet environment.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's a minimum of 2 years, isn't it, for it to be seasoned?
Yeah,
all
and
the
it's
way?
still sort of,
minimum.
you're still like stacking a ring around your fire and drying out the firewood while you're burning the wood that's
I
in
think
the
the
fire.
worst is when you go to one of the grocery stores and you get like the bundle for the weekend and it's wet. You can't even. You're just fighting it the whole time.
Yeah.
Jeez, it's the worst.
You do need a little bit of wet wood though. You have to bring those 3 or 4 pieces, and when your fire's going late and all the neighbor campgrounds are over partying at your fire and you're trying to sleep and you just walk out and kind of exchange some pieces of wood with those smoky ones and smoke them out.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, smoke out the bugs too.
Yeah. There you go. Wake up with
Got a
no
tactic
mosquitoes
there.
and actually get a good night's sleep.
Oh, that's true. And that damp wood, if you save it at the end and you're trying to extend your fire, it's kind of nice. You throw that wet stuff in there, it's already got white coals. It's going to burn.
Yeah.
It smokes off for a second, just enough to get the bugs off, but it does last a little longer. So that's kind of nice. I mean, got to find a positive in it somewhere.
Yeah.
So
I was watching the Instagram there when we were down there in Homer this weekend, and you see that Alaska is now doing a downhill fat tire bike ride.
Yeah.
So a bunch of the homies went and did that this weekend. But that seemed like a really rad do summer or spring activity.
sounds gnarly.
Yeah.
Like, sounds like somebody's going to eat some shit, and that's going to be.
Well, they've been doing something similar a little later. But so are they going to keep that up all year?
I think it was just an event. They have the downhill stuff, right? But this was in the snow.
Oh, okay.
So like Johnny Severson and all those
that's
guys
what I saw.
were up on, going up the tram right now where there's still good skiing, lots of snow. It's corn snow up there right now, but then they race their bikes down. And it just seemed real awesome.
That's cool.
My goal is to have one of those bikes by next winter. I've already talked to multiple people, you and Johnny and Spinelli and Katrina and other people that are just big time into it.
Oh, it's
and I'm
time.
like, what's the one? What's the one? What's the one? And I just act like a newbie after I already know like what I want. But I'm just like, what do you suggest? What do you think?
Yeah.
And they're so
I don't
excited
even
to
know
just
where
tell
to
you,
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to blow your mind. The access to just like pristine Alaska within our community on a daily basis. It's awesome.
Yeah. And I'm just going to do I'm just going to buy myself one and my wife for our anniversary. And that's it. We're just going to start doing that.
Score mad points.
Yeah.
Looks like a lot of work.
Well, yeah. I mean, anything that's fun is a lot of work.
I mean,
It's like riding a bike.
I feel like you got to pedal twice as much to get where you need to get to.
Yeah.
I mean,
Just
you're
based
not-
on seeing folks around town, I'm like, cool.
Yeah, but you're seeing them like on the
wanna-
side of the road, not in the woods.
I
where
like the
bike is meant to
idea, but I'm like,
the one trail breaker person, that person's
All right.
doing all the work.
okay.
Then you're
Yeah.
falling in their tracks.
Yeah.
It's-
He's a dude out there with the headlight and the flashing light at 5:30 a.m. getting after it.
Biking to work
17
every
below.
day.
It's like the one guy I used to see rollerblading down the coastal trail with the broom. He was the one rollerblader guy, but he was like, man, these
Just
rocks
clearing
keep
the trail?
messing me up. Dude. Yeah, he's just like with the broom.
He's the groomer.
Oh yeah, I was like, my man, bro. You ever seen that guy?
It sounds like he's practicing his hands for hockey.
Oh yeah, he's probably got a mean.
He's got the dangles.
He's
Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna put that.
got
rock,
a mean toe drag.
I'll put this rock right in the pond.
So you guys mentioned last weekend the Derby, man. What's up with that? Let's get the
the hype's on the
report.
Derby
I
real
mean,
quick?
let's get the
Yeah.
let's get the long short version here.
Okay. All right. Well, before we get to the Derby, let's introduce our guest because our guest was in the Derby as well.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
And for people that are hearing this, we're recording a couple weeks earlier. We just went to the Derby last weekend, to the Homer Winter King Derby. It was a spectacular time, spectacular day, and we got skunked. But our special guest here tonight, we have the legendary Josh Boots, famous East Sider, owner of the Treehouse, rapper extraordinaire, one of the best lyricists in the world, I'd say. Alaska legend, outdoorsman, legendary family of the Boots East Side crew. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, welcome, Josh.
Yeah.
Man,
good to
we
have you.
forgot the real estate guru, dude.
Oh, the real estate guru, too.
This guy.
Gotta have a lot of streams, a lot of
You
revenue
do.
streams.
You do.
A lot of revenue streams.
This guy really is a unique realtor. I mean, he worked with us when buying my house, and I mean, it was a tough time. I think it's very similar to like what this year's going to be. Josh could probably elaborate on that. The housing market's crazy, right?
Yeah, super crazy.
When I bought my house years ago, it was like that.
Right.
You know, the house we ended up buying, made an offer, lost it. Like 30 days later, Josh calls me out of the blue. The deal fell through. It fell on our lap. We ended up paying like $12,000 over what they wanted for it to get it. But it was his diligence and you know, push and just being on top of it. And then the vibe of, you know, taking you out around town and doing that thing. It was something that, like, you know, realtors, they're all different walks of life. But if you want just somebody real and just will tell it to you straight, steer you in the right direction, the whole nine.
I think the word Josh told me, and I think I was telling you this, I was like, he'll just, because people always want to ask a realtor, like, oh, should I get this? Do you think it's a good deal? And Josh would be like, I wouldn't fuck with it.
It's like, all right, that's all I need to know.
And that's it. You know what I'm saying? He's like, you should probably make an offer. Yeah. You know, or else it's going to be gone.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, I just try to help. A lot of times I'm working with friends or family or a referral of friends and family. And so at the end of the day, I don't care about the deal. I care about the relationship. So I'm going to tell the person exactly how I feel, give them all the info, and then I'm going to help them make the decision that they decide to make and pursue whatever goal that they want to have. You know?
Yeah. I think the honesty is probably the main perspective that someone's looking for. You know, someone who's going to tell them really, like, you know, what do you see? Because you see more houses than the average person.
Right.
Whereas a first-time home buyer's, you know, it's a whirlwind.
Right.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
So do you prefer working with the buyer or the seller?
Well, right now I prefer working with the seller because you put a house on the market today and there's like 5 offers, and it's like, as long as you price it right, it's, you know, over ask and people are competing. So yeah, definitely the seller and the seller. But I like both. I mean, both are fun when you're working with a buyer and they're getting a home. Either way, it's one of the biggest transaction in a person's life. And so to be able to, like, be blessed to be able to help people get through that is amazing. And so that's why I'll no matter what, I'll always continue to do that, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, sellers are the best way I could describe it is you can manage 100 listings, but you could never have 100 buyers by yourself. Right. So
a lot of legwork.
Listings are you can better manage your time with listings than buyers. So,
yeah, you were solid in the buyer side.
Yeah,
as far as just, you know, finding the one somebody wants. Like, we're good friends, and he's like, yeah, he's an OCD motherfucker, so we're gonna get him. We're gonna find. He really can narrow it down. Like, this guy's only gonna want to do, you know, this house, and so no, it was a great experience and something I'll never forget. And I definitely advise anybody, if you're in that time frame in your life where you're ready to do that or make a change, you know, to call.
Yep. Yeah, I got 2 out of 3 Alaska Wild guys here helping with the house. So Jack, you're up next, bud.
Yeah.
I think I'm in my lifetime house.
Lifetime house?
Yeah. You like that?
Yeah.
That's a great place to be. I'm trying to get there too.
We I purchased that house about 4 years ago and ripped 11 walls out and remodeled the whole thing before I moved in. And man, I love it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. We're at 7 houses from the coastal trail and go
totally
play outside real easy. But if I'm not, I got my guy. Yeah. Yeah. We'll go to Boots.
See? There he goes.
You ever see the broom guy?
Tell us about the broom guy, Daniel.
He wears headphones too.
The rollerblader?
Yeah, you know who he reminds me of? And just so people that maybe don't know, Josh and I have a big history with music and in the hip-hop game in Alaska here. We started with Star Spangled Grammar in 1999, 2000?
Yeah, I think 99.
99, we put out a mixtape, did really well. Ended up forming a crew with Jeremy Santacross, who's A Cream, who's now Cream Soda. He has the Cream Soda podcast, and formulated Arctic Flow Records. And from there, put out 4 to 5 different albums. Did shows all over the state. A lot of people you know, we got a big history with doing the music here, not just in Anchorage, but we'd go all over the place and do shows and stuff like that. So I fucking lost where I was going with that, but
Just giving a little history.
yeah, a little history of that.
Well, we were talking about the sweeper originally.
Oh yeah.
To hold into you guys' epic music
Yeah.
stardom.
Yes.
So
Yeah, stardom, I guess. Local stardom.
no, you guys were the shit back then, bro. Not doing now, just
Yeah.
back,
the
you know.
shit. I'm still the shit.
Yeah,
What do you mean?
I'm talking about those young years, man. We were all kids, and you guys were doing something that nobody else had ever really done.
Yeah.
That was hip hop in Alaska. Like, hold on, let me hold up. No disrespect to all the other guys that have been doing it, or maybe did some shit before you guys. All right, I know there's a history and a lot of honor and you know, respect for the guys that have done it in the state, because it's not something that a lot of people do. But you guys have kind of took it to another level. I don't really know a whole lot of other guys that did, you know.
Yeah, a lot of history there. A lot of ups and downs, a lot of crazy shows, a lot of touring the state, doing different things, a lot of connections, a lot of relationships.
Yeah, for sure.
But
a lot of friends in Sitka.
a lot of friends and sick.
Well, all over, like, those relationships still stretch to this day. You know, I still do stuff from here to there, shows in Fairbanks, and do songs when a lot of people send me songs still to this day to do, and you know, I don't do them all, and I don't usually tell them the reason that I don't like the song. That's why I'm not doing it. But I'm usually like, yeah, I'll listen to it, you know. But you know, still do it with the ones that are good, and then those relationships turn into other things to this day. So it's just all about just staying connected with the community and the things that you like to do, really, you know, and good energy comes out of it.
So what was your guys' inspiration?
Dave
Trying
Moore.
to blow up.
Dave Moore.
We were trying to get to the MTV spring break in Cancun. That was the inspiration. We seen that.
Be on the top 20?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
99, man. This MTV spring break. Dude, we flew to Puerto Vallarta with no plans, no reservations, no money, no nothing. We're like 18. Our boy worked at Alaska Airlines. And we're like, dude, we got to get to Cancun. How can we get to Cancun? So we like flew to Puerto Vallarta, hopped in like a Nissan Sentra with like and I was the only guy that brought like not a suitcase, but for some reason I went on vacation with the boys with the fucking action packer.
And not the little one, like the big size.
Just told this stupid thing around.
This is how Muldoon I am. I don't know. I put up with an action packer, a hard action, and you know, none of us had a bright idea to like lose the action packer and actually buy a bag in Mexico, like hecho en Mexico, man. Maybe we could get one for cheap. I don't know, you know.
Yeah.
Like none of us thought to buy a new bag for me. We instead rode around Mexico from.
Hold on, we got to backtrack a little bit there.
Well, all right, yeah. You tell me.
Well, we went to there and we didn't have a rental car. We didn't have a hotel. We didn't have anything.
That's what I said originally. We had.
How did we even get the rental car?
So we got the rental car because it was Mexico and somebody was 18. So we get the car. And then we're driving around Puerto Vallarta thinking it's going to be popping because it's spring break, but it's like West Coast and it's kind of cold. And we're just like, we're out of here. Like, we got to go. So that night we were like, all right, we're going to Cancun. But, you know, so basically like driving from California to Florida, right? But we're in Puerto Vallarta. So Brian has our boy, Brian and Raymond that we were with. They had family in Mexico City. So we're like, all right, we're going to drive over there. We'll stop there, and then we'll go to Cancun. Well, we didn't know there was, like, cartel wars going on and all this crazy. We are literally, like, driving through Mexico, not on the toll roads, like the back roads where if you go off the side of the road, it's 12 feet below the road. And, like, they've never seen a white guy out here anywhere in their life, and they're just like, who the hell is this Julio Gigante-ass looking motherfucker?
You want to buy a mixtape?
So we drive that night to Mexico City. We pull into Mexico City. We go to Brian's aunt's house, and she's like, no, you guys are not driving to Cancun, like, whatsoever. Like, there's no way. Like, there's a full war going on. You can't go. So we ended up going to Acapulco, and then legendary stories happened in Acapulco.
Oh man.
Meanwhile, this
my
whole
gosh.
journey with the fucking action pack.
Yeah, we had like a green
whole way.
Nissan
The
Sentra.
whole way.
A green
the
Nissan
smallest car
Sentra.
you could ever get in.
So that took up like
The whole
3/4
back
of the
seat.
trunk.
Yeah, and we were like,
No, it wasn't in the
middle.
trunk. We had to put it in
We had to put it
the
in the back
middle.
seat. It didn't even fit in the trunk.
So
Yeah.
y'all
car
were
was
just
so
like
small.
with your arm up on it.
Yes,
Just,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
It seems like
The
a
warm-ass
straight up
beer.
Alaska move.
It was.
to
Oh,
roll.
it
dude.
was.
It'd
Yeah.
be like the same as duct taping 230 packs of Coors Light together.
Yeah, we were totally winging it. We had no clue
Yeah.
what we were doing. But we had a blast. We were in Mexico. I don't even know how long. I don't remember. But we got
Oh man, we got jacked by the police.
jacked by the police.
Man, we thought it was Alaska where you could still smoke some weed somewhere. No. No.
Yo,
Big problem. Big problem.
Tienes
mijo.
problemas, my friend. Dude, we got jacked so hard. We got pulled over. They took our money. They took our shit. They drove us like deep into Acapulco, way away from the tourist part. And then they were like, you know what? We know you have problems in America. We're gonna give you we're gonna give you some weed back. And I was thinking like, fuck yeah, at least we get to get high, like. And we had bought like this Mexican brick weed from this guy on the street for like $5, and it was like this huge amount of weed or whatever.
It was in a newspaper.
The newspaper, yeah. So we we're
chipping
chiefing
away
like
at
these
it.
joints that are a foot long out of the Easy Wider papers. When we're like on the main drag in Acapulco smoking. The police pull right next to us in like a jeepney or something. Like I don't even know what was
No, so we went to this club. And the clubs
that
were
was the whole
insane out there. So basically, the club is like kind of like a restaurant, and then at a certain time, maybe midnight,
just flips.
it just flips to like
Yeah.
the club, dude. And they move all the tables, and then it's just like dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just the club. So we're like, oh, what's going off in here? Me and Josh go up to the TJ booth, convinced that we give him one of our CDs. We have
we're
our Star
rappers from
Spangled
America.
Star
Oh,
Spangled Grammar
yeah.
CDs. We convince him that we're rap stars from the United States, and he's gonna let us perform. So he's like, we're gonna let you go on. He's like, and he gave us like a time. He's like 1 o'clock. Give me the music. You guys have the music, and we realized, oh shit, we don't have our beats with us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We have to go get the CD. It's not like it's on your phone. We didn't have phones.
back to the hotel.
So we go back to the hotel, and on the way to the hotel, Josh rolls up this fucking 2 foot joint, dude, with this thing, and we're just
Dodger
smoking all the way back to the. We're like, oh yeah, we're about to rock the show. We're practicing our songs, you know what I'm saying? And then we roll up to the stoplight, and this Jeep pulls up, and there's like, whenever the cops roll, there's like 12 of them in this Jeep.
Yeah.
So there's 12 of them there with their machine guns and all their shit. And we're like, oh shit. I'm like, Josh, turn to the right. Dude, they circled around, dude. They got us, dude.
Pulled us over.
Got
cleaned
us all the
out.
thing. They, you know what? Even they did. So obviously we didn't perform that night.
just disappeared.
They gave
Full
us the.
ghost.
Oh yeah, they gave us the.
Don't even skip the part where they give us the weed. They already took like our CDs, like our money, everything we had,
Yeah.
and they're like, we know you got problems in America. You have drug problems, so we don't want you to be without your medicine. And so I'm like, fuck yeah, at least we get to get high, right? And Daniel's like, so he's like, no, fuck that, throw that out the window right away, throw it out the window. I'm like, hell no, I'm not throwing it out. He's like, throw it out the window, like adamant. So I'm like, all right, like one at a time to listen to him. Throw it out the window. We literally make a right turn and a left turn, and boom, get pulled over again. So they like gave us the stuff back to like call their boys so their boys could come jack us too, right? So then they pull us over, and we don't have no weed. So he's like, "Donde está la the drogas?" Like to ask him where's the weed, and then we're like, we don't have any. We don't have any. And I'm wearing like corduroy shorts, and the Mexican weed we've been rolling up. So it's like brick weed, shaky and stuff, and it's like,
you have the debris. Like,
yeah, there's debris all over the car. And he gets a cigarette cellophane, and he's like, he starts pulling it out of my corduroy shorts, and he's like, "Mira, ¿qué es eso? Tienes problemas, my friend. Mira la mota. Yo." And he just like, so long story longer, they take us. We have no money, so they take us back to our hotel.
No, they drive our car.
Yeah.
One of the dudes gets in our cars. The
Right.
police officer
He's
driving us. I'm in the front seat. Josh is right behind this guy.
Well, that was in the beginning trip. This is after that. The beginning, I'm in the back, and they take our car, and I'm thinking like we could do something, but we didn't. This is afterward. They follow us to the hotel, and then they go and get Brian. We have no money, so our boy has to go and deplete his ATM and pay these guys off.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And then we were like in
To not
Acapulco
throw you in jail.
for another week with not even enough money to get in the club.
I had to
we're
call
just
my
like,
mom.
Yeah, we had to get Western Union. It wasn't as
Western-
easy.
No
back
Venmo?
then. No Venmo, no Cash App, no nothing. It was like, yeah. So we were kind of asked out. We were kind of asked out in Acapulco. Like we were outside the club. Like we got $120. Like what day should we go in? You know, trying to figure out what day we have 5 days left. Like, all right, we're gonna make this happen one night. And the rest of that we will never talk about.
That's not where it stops.
That's where it stops. Yeah.
So we were originally.
Oh, you
talking
remember
about the
how
street sweeper? I mean, we from the street sweeper we went to Acapulco. So what
Did you have to sweep some?
It's gonna be all
make
over
some
the
money.
place. Yeah, there's no.
No,
I don't
it's
know.
all good.
Yeah,
We were talking about that was going to be you were going to bring something
You're
up
gonna
about
say
the
something
sweeper,
about the street sweeper, but
and then we went to
that's long
Acapulco.
gone now,
But yeah, it's all
Yeah.
good. I just thought I'd bring it
Well,
back.
just
I made a note. So
Well, it actually reminds me of because the street sweeper has headphones on. So he's just like in his zone, dude, just doing his thing, like oblivious to everyone. And so it just reminds me of. So after we came back from Mexico and we got into the music stuff, we ended up moving to California for a while. Josh, myself, Jamon, Brian,
Jason.
Jason.
that was San Fran,
Jeremy.
right?
We started in San Fran, and then
Yeah.
we were like, "Oh, this is JV. We're gonna go to LA." So we went to LA. So that was like, big boy shit.
Yeah. So we go to LA. We have a 1-bedroom apartment right in Marina Del Rey. So we're in the hot spot, and there's like 7 of us in there. We just sleep on the floor and the mattress. I would sleep in, outside. It's so hot, and back to the sweeper guy reminds me of because how we would really get these people. So we had zero money. Like when we went down there, all we had was CDs to sell, and all we would do is go to Venice Beach every day, where it was the most packed place with a backpack full of CDs, and that was when the iPod first came out, like the very first iPod.
99, right? Yeah.
Yep, in '99, and so we had the iPod.
Well, no, we actually went down there in 2003.
2003
Yeah,
was
it was the
whenever the
spring of
first
2000.
iPod came out.
Yeah.
It had just came out, but the iPod came out before we went down, but we went down in 2003, like spring of 2003.
That actually makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the iPod took off like in 2000 or 01.
Pre-iPhone. Pre-iPhone.
Yeah.
Pre-iPhone.
Yeah.
Anybody
So
that knows
everyone's
what that
using
is,
that
right?
iPod or CDs.
Yeah, it was like huge. It was like 4 gigs. You know,
I know. My first daughter was born in May of 2002, and I remember the whole timeline because I had to like literally decide like, all right, I'm gonna pursue my dream and leave my daughter here and go down to try to do this or whatever.
That's okay. Yep.
So we went to Houston, and then we started in Houston, and then we worked our way back, and we went to San Fran, and then we ended up in LA.
Houston.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that part.
There's a whole nother backstory with the Houston.
Houston.
Thing, yeah.
Wow.
yeah. Well, we were just pursuing shows and festivals, and
Just trying to do it.
and we
Yeah.
just had all we had was suitcases full of CDs
And 2 cameras
and 2 cameras.
until we got Jack.
And an actual
Yeah.
Again?
We stayed in, dude, we stayed in like the Tenderloin district in San Fran. So if you don't know what that is, Google it up. And it
I know
was
what
a
it
tough area, and we didn't know where we were at. We just got a cheap room that
Yeah.
and we left all of our like thousands of CDs and cameras and all this stuff in the car, and we came out the next morning, and that was gonzo.
Yeah, window broken.
Window
You
broken.
don't like leave nothing in the car, right?
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
stupid, but
You don't go on a midnight run there.
yeah,
No.
we did. We were skating outside. We were doing all.
Yeah, we had one skateboard, like 5 of us, and we just take turns.
Yeah. We were
I learned how to ollie though. I learned how to do a bunch of things.
You do have a pretty funny story though when you're down there on Venice Beach with like your inspiration guy.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's what it was. That's exactly. This is the comeback. Okay, so it reminded
Here
me
we
of.
go.
So in Venice Beach, we would go every day with the iPods, backpack full of CDs. If we wanted to eat that night or go out or buy beers, we had to sell CDs. And everyone, like the deal we had was like whatever you sell, you make. Okay, so everyone had their own CD, and let's see who can hustle the hardest. Let's see who can make this money. So we would go out there every single day, a backpack full of CDs, one skateboard. One guy would get to skate, the rest of us would have to walk. And we would go out there and just convince people to listen to a song or two and spend $5 on a CD. Okay, so we're doing this, and all we're doing is cash. You know, there's nothing. There's no phone. You know, there's no. So we're doing cash, and then one day I see this guy rollerblading. There's this guy rollerblading in an all white outfit.
He's a legend. He's
legendary. He has like Daisy Duke white shorts on, a white shirt on, and on the shirt is the logo of him in his rollerblades with his headphones on. Okay, so this is the connection. It reminds me of the guy on the thing.
There
and
it
this
is,
guy, this guy was out hustling everyone. He would be out there selling his shirt, rollerblading.
Dude,
like people would take picture.
Remember he had the credit card reader, and we were like, how do we get the credit card reader? Like this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like pre-Google. Like we were like printing out maps on MapQuest, and like then we go to 7-Eleven and ask the guy, and he's like, I don't, he doesn't even speak English, and he's like doesn't know where we're trying to talk. We were like out there with no modern conveniences. Yeah. But that guy's been in movies. He's been all over the place. Like he's a well-known
local legend.
Yeah,
local legend.
If you just
dude.
Google like rollerblade guy in Venice, he'll pop up for sure.
Yeah, and so the hustle, like we're like, oh, we need to sell as many shirts as this guy, and he's out there selling shirts. And then one day we're sitting on the bench, just probably smoking or chilling, and I'm listening to his hustle. Right, he's like, oh yeah, you should buy the shirt. Da, da, da. It supports me. And I've been in this, I've been in that, and he's just spitting his his game, his salesmanship. And they're like, oh, we don't have any cash. We have a card. And he pulls out the card reader, dude. Yeah. And I'm just like, we're all like looking at each other like, what?
That's the mind blown emoji.
Dude, it was like this dude pulled it out. And then they couldn't help but pull out the card. They're like, oh, what do you say now?
That's easy.
You know what I'm saying? You can't get away now. He's got the card reader.
It's the size of a lunchbox.
Oh, yeah. It's like the old phones that were huge. It looks like the one that when you go to a store.
It's a huge one. Yeah. It's like, 10 inches long, big, thick thing, and he had it in his like fanny pack.
Yeah, it wasn't a pickle in his pocket. It was a card reader.
Yeah, no, he was about his money, man. He was about his money.
And you would see him, and you think that this guy was like whacked out, dude. But no, he was.
He was
on.
Yeah, he had a
money,
hustle.
Dude.
Yeah.
That's the guy that you see like pull
there.
up into a Lexus, walk away and drive away in a Lexus when he pulls his rollerblades off.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's living the dream, dude. He's in those Daisy Dukes, just skating around,
just
Venice
glistening
Beach.
in the sun every day. Oh yeah.
He's like,
Great.
oh, I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we learned a lot out there because we sold CDs to grandmas from Iowa, to like people from the hood, to every walks of life. Like we would approach anybody and have an angle for it, and it was a good time.
Yeah.
Super. And then we would always go boogie boarding about 6 p.m.
And then when you were done, you guys got invited down to MTV Spring Breaking in Cancun.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Didn't make it all the way that far south.
We actually came home one by one. I came home. So what happened to me is I came home for my daughter's like birthday, and she did Stranger Danger on me, and it just broke my heart. I wanted to be a dad. The choice was either leave Alaska and like pursue your dream, and then some things are gonna have to be sacrificed, like your family and your kid and everything, or come back home and try to do it from here, which at that time was a little bit more difficult and took a little bit more money. And so I came home and saw my daughter, my 1-year-old daughter, and she gave me, stranger dangered me on her birthday, and it just broke me up. And I came home and wanted to be a dad, and been taking care of the kids ever since.
Good move.
Yeah.
Best move. Blessed move.
Mm-hmm.
So the comeback kind of started like when we were like, well, we could do this here, Yeah. And then we just started, promoting and doing shows and coming out with more music and building these relationships with these bars in different cities. And I know we brought up the Alibi on the other one, and these places in Juneau and Sitka and Fairbanks and Wasilla, and just started building these relationships where we could go and charge pretty much what we wanted, to go and do these shows. And then we started connecting with promoters. Shout out to Heather at Synops, who were bringing up these big acts, and she realized the hustle and the quality of the music and the things that we were putting out. And so we opened up for almost every major hip hop show that's been up here.
Yeah,
that's it.
A lot of shows. Yeah, a lot of shows.
Yeah. What's the standout for you?
Standout for me is like stage diving. That was like my favorite shit to do. And like to be able to like weigh 270, 260 pounds and like jump from a 6-foot barrier and like land on people and they like catch you. And it's like, a lot of love, you know. So like, so I got infected with the stage dive bug. Heather threw a Swollen Members show at Girdwood, and it was just an epic show. It was probably 3,000-4,000 people there, if I had to guess, and just everyone was just so enthusiastic. And they had a barrier down the middle, which was awkward, and it was a beer side and no alcohol and non-alcohol. So all the young kids were just fanatical, you know. And it's funny when you look back at the video, and then now, like, you know them. Like, I know some of the people that were in that crowd. Like, Winston stands out for.
Galen's in it.
Oh, really?
Galen
From Double Shovel, dude.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, you just see Winston from TIA, and he works at Enlighten now, and he was just, you know, in the front of the crowd, like, just rock. And he's just you know.
He was on the teen side.
Yeah,
He was like 14.
This is all the dry side.
He wasn't 14, but yeah, he was younger, right? And so I'm just like, all right, I'm doing this. That was my first time ever stage diving, and I kind of got carried away. I probably did like 5 stage dives that show.
I was like,
dude,
dislocated fingers.
By the end of it, they were like over it, you know. So like my last one, I jump in, and I'm like, everyone kind of like caves, and I'm like about to kiss the ground, and I'm like, no, and then they all like rally in, right, and pick me up, and you know, there's a video of it on YouTube. It's pretty funny, but. The best stage dive story was we were opening for Andre Nicotina at the Egan Center, and at that Girdwood show there's no gap between the crowd and the stage, so they're just right on the stage, right? At the Andre Nicotina, they are 6 feet away, and there's the blue tarp, and you see the tarp. And Daniel, you know, this big ass dude is in the front. I don't know if he was at the Girdwood or what, but he's the whole time he's like telling me to stage dive. He's like, "Come on,
you can make it.
You can do it, right?" So finally, like towards the end of the show, I'm like, I'm doing it, right? So I have like a half ounce of weed in my pocket and my cash and all my shit. I give it to Daniel, right? And I had just got this weed. It was like really good weed. I got it for the night, you know. I give it to Daniel. I'm like, hold this. I'm jumping. You know, I go do the Superman jump over the 6-foot gap. Well, I like wanted to make sure I got out there, so I like did
launched.
you know, I launched right so,
Over the big guy.
dude. Exactly.
You're just looking down.
I go
on him.
all over him, and all I see is blue, and I'm just.
Oh no!
I'm like, no. Same thing, you know, like, no. The next thing you know, like, luckily somehow by the grace of God, like they all filled in. They saved me, bro. Anyway, I get back up on the stage. I go, this guy, I'm like, hey, where's my weed? He's like, fuck, I threw it. I'm like, what do you mean you threw it? He's like, I got fuck. This shit was hype. I got caught in the moment. I fucking threw it to the crowd. I'm like, bro, that's all the weed I got. Like, what the fuck am I gonna?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you remember that?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
still never gave me that half ounce
You're
back.
mad, yep.
I'm ready to get that when you get a chance.
If the lucky fan's listening, you know, you can come pay it back.
Yeah, so
It was me.
we had some good
Well,
times.
the local shows rocked, bro. They came out and showed up.
Yeah, a lot of good times.
Yeah, it was a really fun time.
Good times in the on stage and out in the woods too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, leading into the woods, I think the best shows are like when we're out in the woods, and it's me and Josh and some of the other guys that do music, and
By
we're
the fire.
by the fire, just out there, the
yeah.
bottles going around in the circle, and the music's on, and we're just at Camp 360 or something, and we're just like,
1,800 feet.
that's when you get like a 3-hour show
Yeah.
of just
It's mostly Daniel.
And you're just reverting to the Spanish.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
Just
All the stuff no one understands.
Yeah.
yeah.
The more Tito's that comes out. Yeah.
The more the Spanish comes out.
Yeah.
I got some really good footage from the last 360 run, like I think it was 17
Yeah.
or 18 we went up there.
It's better when you're there rather than the footage
Yeah.
because, you know, it's like there's a certain, you have to be in a certain mind state.
Yeah, you don't ever want to look at that again, you know.
It's meant to be lost in time like the Northern Lights.
For those
Right.
that don't
Drift
know
off.
what the 360 is, you guys should talk about it.
Camp 360 is like we were saying in actually the episode, the summer season thing. We normally do a boys.
Name dropped it there.
We did a boys 4-wheeler trip out in Eureka where there's 10 to 20 of us that go out and go rip for the weekend, and we have this hill, this like big hill that we call Camp 360, and
More of a mountain.
yeah, it's a mountain that we
it's
climb
a
to the
pole.
top, and we camp up there, and we bring all the firewood in, we bring the meat trailers in with firewood and all the cooking stuff, and everyone sets up there, and it's basically a 360 view of the entire area, and it's just amazing. And it's just one of those, we're up all night, you know, singing and drinking and eating, and then the next day we go ride as far as we can and get stuck. And
it's just beautiful too. Like it's just 360, just everywhere you look, just nothing but glorious views, just amazing. You'd never take a picture that would make you appreciate what it really looks like in person, you know?
Yeah, it never does it justice.
Never.
No, it's hard to.
I thought with the 3 lenses on my new iPhone it would do better, but I don't know. So, maybe I gotta get a big one.
I like too the going out that time of years before it's a heavily hunted unit, right? Like it's a very popular caribou hunting area.
Yeah.
And it's cool to get out there when the snow's now all melted and the bugs aren't bad. It's still pretty chilly and there ain't really anybody in there.
Yeah.
And you got the place to yourself.
Yeah.
And the country's just wide open, beautiful, God's country type stuff. And
it's amazing.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Daniel took me out there for the first time on the. That's what actually inspired me to start hunting. Was Daniel and the boys went out there the first year, and they had a great time. And I saw all the pictures, of course, and heard all the stories. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna go. And so he got me into hunting for the first time, probably 8-9 years ago now. I would guess. And we went out there the first time. We went to that camp, and it's we're riding in, and I'm just asking all. 1,000 questions. Like, what do they look like? I've never, I grew up in Alaska, always fishing. My dad always, every weekend we went to South. So when my dad's family moved up here in the 60s, they bought a piece of land at Kenai Keys on the Kenai River, which is an excellent place to be. And they grew up going fishing out there. And so kind of my whole life was focused towards going south.
Slaughtering kings, catching
Yeah, we started in
reds.
Kasilof. We'd go to Kasilof in the early spring, and then we'd be on the Kenai at my grandpa's property the whole time, and he had a boat out there. And so I just grew up going south. I never really knew anything about north. I didn't go hunting. I didn't do any of that stuff until I was older. And then Daniel started hunting and turned me on to it. So I get the permit, and of course, the whole what's the gear? What do I need? That whole gauntlet of
something new.
Yeah, something totally new. The 4-wheeling, everything was new.
Oh,
Remember the first time I actually kind of got back on a 4-wheeler was out at Gary's property with you.
Oh yeah.
And we went out in the woods, and I kind of caught the butt. I was riding like the King Quad or something
back in the swamp. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh my God, this is and I had, of course, I rode 4-wheelers and all that stuff my whole life, snow machines, but it was never, I'm from kind of a poorer family, so it was always like a friend's stuff, or
right.
We're going to this guy's cabin.
Somebody else's
yeah,
stuff.
It was never my stuff, and so so I had experience with it here and there, but it wasn't I didn't really get to have my own stuff. So I rode the 4-wheeler that day with you, and I'm like, damn, I'm gonna get a 4-wheeler. This is awesome. And then Daniel got a 4-wheeler, and he went hunting. So we go out to Eureka for the first time, and he takes me to this Camp 360, right? And on the way out, after going through buying all the stuff and asking all the questions for a week or two, right? Then we're going out there, and I'm trying to figure out what are these things going to look like in the field, right? So we were lucky enough that year to be in the herd of just thousands of caribou. It was that epic year. I don't know what year it was, but it was just epic. So we're riding out there, and next thing you know, we're riding up to the camp, and there's just 300 caribou on the left and right. We're riding with them on the trail, and they're running. We're running. I mean, it was amazing. And then
just National Geographic.
Yeah, so we of course party hard as the East Siders do that night. We party all night. Next thing you know, it's 5 a.m. or whatever. Whenever
And that's opening day.
Opening day,
Yeah.
right. And we're on the top of this mountain, and there's just people camped all over or whatever, caribou everywhere. We wake up to just bombs over Baghdad at oh man, just
Civil twilight.
yeah, we're just what the hell? What's going on, right? And next thing you know, look out the tent, it's just going down everywhere. So that was my first kind of introduction to hunting, and then from there, it's just been fallen in love ever since.
Yeah.
That was an amazing trip, and that was at that same spot in Camp 360.
Yeah, I've been really close to that spot. I mean, up in the tundra, up above the spruce, it's just gorgeous. And Alaska is the only place you can do that.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Canada, but We're going to take a minute and give a shout out to Tailored Restoration. They offer 24-hour emergency services. They've been helping Alaskans restore their dreams since 1972. Services include fire, water, mold, post-emergency cleaning, remodeling, and anything and all in the aftermath. Tailored has an emergency response number with trained professionals available to help you at any time of the day. Give them a call. They're in Anchorage, Eagle River, Matsu, and Fairbanks. TailoredRestorationAlaska.com. So I got a little story for you, Daniel, with Tailored. So this week, one of my condos, it's a rental, got a water leak in that middle floor. The tenant saw a bunch of water just pouring down into the ceiling and just filling and making a bubble, a little lake there, and it started to drip and break as it broke through the paint. And they didn't know what to do, so they called a restoration company to come out there. So they cruised out there and looked at the stuff, and that restoration company gave me a call, and it just didn't feel good. Mm-hmm. Immediately it was like, hey, I'm ready to work with your insurance. It's going to be this $5,000 or whatever amount he called out, and then just started naming certs instead of being like, hey, you got a problem here, and I think it's this, and this is how I'd like to address it. And here, I found the source of the water leak, so I got it turned off. And so when I started asking, those kind of more logical based, like step-by-step questions, I just felt really uncomfortable. So immediately it was like, hey, I really appreciate being there, but I have, some trusted people we worked with before. So I immediately got on the phone with Tailored. They had someone there within 30 minutes. The first thing they did was walk in and shut off the water. There was no questions about, insurance and all that stuff. They really just wanted to show up for me and get the thing dried out as fast as possible to avoid any other damage, any mold, and really keep my tenant happy. And man, I'm just so happy that we went with them. It was really, really good deal.
I remember you showed up at your rental, and the first thing you did was text me. And you're like, Daniel, I got some water issues. What's Trent's number? And I just gave you his personal number, and I was like, that was it. And to Trent's credit and Taylor's credit, I didn't even call you and ask you, is everything okay later on, until the next day when I remembered. Because as soon as I gave you the number, I just knew these guys are going to come through and they're going to handle it no matter what time it was. You got Trent's personal number, and I'm sure he's got all his dudes just ready to go. And I didn't even question it until the next day when it just popped in my head oh, that's right. This guy had a water problem. And Tailored Restoration just hit it up, man. Just did it right.
Yeah, they came through, and I checked in on it today, and they, it's almost all completely dried out, and really minimized the damage and cost to me, and it's way lower than what these other guys were kind of saying, and when they shot out their shirts and stuff.
So if you're sitting there, just put this number in your phone right now: 344-1239. 344-1239. That's Tailored's Anchorage number. You call them. And even if you're in Fairbanks or in the Matsu, that's the number that you call. You got an emergency, you don't know who to call, you're going to Google, you don't know who's going to come over and charge you who knows how much in the middle of the night. Just call 344-1239 with Tailored Restoration, and they're going to actually treat you right. Tell them Alaska Wild Project sent you there, and that's it. It's like you're dealing with your family, and they're going to help you out.
That's right.
That's awesome.
Done deal.
Really quick, I want to actually play a song of Josh's. Me and Josh have recorded many songs. Lots of songs are out on CDs, and things like that. I think we even got a record on a record.
Oh yeah, we actually pressed up a vinyl.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't think people do that anymore.
No.
Sometimes
I think it's coming back.
only the cool people do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nowadays.
Yeah.
So we have lots of songs that we've never put out, lots of things that were supposed to go on certain projects or on a mixtape and stuff like that. And we as the years, as we've gotten older and gotten into a lot more outdoor stuff, we've, you just speak about the things that you see and the things that you do. And I really feel that this was a song that Josh actually recommended that we play. It kind of is a real Alaska song. We're touching on snow machining and rafting and all that stuff. And this is a song that was never put out. No one actually has a copy of this song. I listen to it all the time, selfishly, and I'm sure you do too, Josh. And so it's a nice situation. Right now, if you got to take a little break, and we're going to take a little potty break real quick and play this song so that the people can listen to something that's never been released and, enjoy.
Yeah, it's the one. Sometimes you gotta escape them Alaska winters and be like, the streets is cold, but I be living where the heat is low. See in my mind, I'm on the river, feel the current flow. Floating in my raft, I'm on a salmon's ass. We docking up with ice and Crown Royal in the glass. Before the winds blow, light up the winds low. Ashes on the waders floating with the kinfolk. With so much beauty in my face, I feel nature talk. I'm so in love with her, I feel the need to break her off. You see the glacier shatter in the water all the time. Northern lights, summer nights, pink and purple skies. How fresh are you gon' get it? We out the tap. A lady sleep awaiting peace, she laying on her back. The summer sunset, the same place it rise at. 800 up the face, 2-inch paddle track. Glorious peaks, views reaching where the world turns. No matter what you see, just know that you can still learn. See, every day's another chance to take a different path. The water circulate the earth, I'm certain life intact. I'm kinda thirsty though, and what's a life without a purpose for? Ain't nothing but all that bullshit. Loaded up with a full clip, shot it up, overdosed it. Swallowed up all that whole shit, hollow with no devotion. My flows probably be posted at the top of the world. Josh Boots and Soil Seed like
Josh Boots and Soil Seed like Josh Boots and Soil Seed like Josh Boots and Soil Seed like such a beautiful life. Standing in the water, feel the current, I'm observant. Staring towards the mountaintops, reflective when they flourish. Water for the river, feed the people from the city. Nipples of the mother, face the sky from earth, they really concentrating thoughts upon this life that I be living. Casual and rational and thankful for what's given. Abundance of the fruit and all the elements we live on. And live on, and live on, and live on for how long? That's the question for the now, the children and what's beyond. Be gone, the feeling of the freedom that we lean on. Standing on my own now, old man raised brow. Talk about younger years back then, wow, how used to this and that, riggedy rap to outcast. Now it's mortgages and credit scores that's making up my metaphors. I won't let it slow me down, motivate me more to plow forward to my destination, a conversation now.
I'm gonna put it on Spotify too. Get it out of the hard drive into the world.
Is that just some throwback or what, dude?
Pretty much?
What you got going on there, bud?
The whole concert.
We can't play the whole mixtape.
Not to be revealed till 2025.
Maybe we'll get that trip to Cancun after all.
Yeah. MTV, hit us up. Is MTV still a thing?
I was wondering if that is even a thing anymore. I
They
don't know.
don't play music.
It's a different thing, but it's a thing.
Yeah.
Wasn't it such a fantasy as an Alaskan kid in the middle of June, summer break? I don't know about you, but I slept in until 10:30 in the morning. My parents went to school, went to work,
Yeah.
and sun came up at 4:30, and you slept in and you knew when that show was going to come on in the afternoon,
Yeah.
and you sat there and watched the whole thing and was like,
Not
I
me.
think that's what's up.
My mom was
what it is.
Christian.
Oh, yeah.
That was the devil's music.
Yeah. Daniel didn't say a cuss word till 9th grade.
Yeah.
We definitely
I
didn't
used to
have
peer
cable.
pressure him, try to get him to say a cuss word, and he would not do it.
Just
I
press.
can't imagine that, Daniel.
Yeah.
I
Now it's
know,
every
isn't
other
that weird?
word.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happens when you're in that. When you're too much protected, you kind of go a little bit,
A little wild
a little
out.
further than everybody else that's
Yeah.
already been tiptoeing in the deep end.
You've been suppressed.
I've thrown out
Yeah.
more F-bombs because of that, too.
Yeah. Once Daniel got let loose, it was lights out.
Oh, yeah.
My parents, man, I watched rated R movies. The family got together, they partied, they did their thing right in front of us, and it was normal.
Yeah.
Not bad, just
normal.
they were just doing
Well, it was
the thing.
normalized to you. I mean, I was raised in a whole different thing.
Right,
dude.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
I mean, there's just, it's funny how it all kind of comes full circle, and here we are at this table having these conversations and just on the same level.
Well, at the end of the day, you just no one has the right answers. You're trying to figure it out, and you're
Yeah.
going through life, and you deal with what's thrown at you, and some people react this way, some people react that way, and that creates all this this diversity in how people are raised, and then you know it all comes together. It's the way it is, you know.
Yep.
Everybody has their path, and that's it, you know.
Yep.
Yeah, it gives everyone like this diversity, this different perspective, you know, so we're all not all the same.
Yeah.
And that's one of the best parts of life is meeting these people that have a totally different path, view,
blend.
everything. And you get to experience their thing. And you're like, whoa,
Yeah.
maybe borrow some of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. We talked about that with Jeff, you know, weeks ago, going down there in Ketchikan about the diversity. Not a lot of people know about Alaska and the diversity of which it's made up of. You know, the military, the different, you know, races of folks.
Well, you see it on your own street.
Yeah, until you're here in a neighborhood,
Well, it
and
depends
you see
what
it.
street you're on. Like your street, you see it on. Other streets, you probably don't see it on. Like,
My kids are the
That's a good
whitest
point.
kids, and they're not white.
but like where we grew up in Bartlett and East, the cultures over there. I mean,
Oh,
I don't
dude.
know how many 100 cultures we have at our school. It's one of the most diverse schools in America.
Like
And what it does is
most
prepare
diverse.
you for the world. So when you go
Big
to
time, man.
when you're in the deep off in, you know, the barrio in the Philippines or the barangay as they call it, whatever, you know, you're in Novaliches with you know, you're the only
Bogota, deep in the Bogota.
deep in Bogota, whatever. You know how you've seen those people before.
Yeah.
You've already interacted with them, so it prepares you really well for the world when you go out and travel. And that's
really
what I
does,
like about where
man.
we came from.
It really does. I had a Alaska Native family that I grew up next to. They had a beautiful family there and great kids, great parents, and they came from a village just outside of Barrow, and they were so like they had that village mentality in the city. And I remember experiencing that with them, and it was different than any other culture that you ever mixed in with in Alaska in high school and junior high and all that. And I found it to be just one of the most unique experiences growing up as a kid that not a lot of American kids could ever even think of being part of. And not to take anything away from the kids that live in certain hoods where there's a lot of diversity in, you know, New York and LA and down south and, you know.
Well, it just shows. I mean, Anchorage has the top 3. I work at the second most diverse school in the nation, and the first most diverse school in the nation is literally like 3 miles away. You know, and we went to the most diverse high school in the nation.
Right. And I think the one thing about like that we've experienced, like even in the big cities, even though there are a lot of cultures, a lot of times the neighborhoods are segregated or whatever, to where, you know, these type of people live in this neighborhood and this type of people, and where over here everyone's kind of thrown in the pot together, and you know, you're kind of mixed together a little bit more from what I've seen traveling, right? Like,
yeah, and it makes you feel when you go to a place where maybe you're the one off in a place, you're like, well, I'm cool. Like it ain't. This isn't
it's not
making me
your
feel
first time.
uncomfortable.
It's not your first
like,
time.
yeah,
Right.
I deal with adversity, you know, and diversity all the time. Like I don't. It's
That,
Well,
and the person that you're talking to doesn't feel like isolated. Like they feel like part of the group.
yep.
You're not treating them differently. You know?
Yeah. Great point.
Well, I think along with the diversity of ethnic cultures is also the diversity of the outdoor things that are going on. I know we say it time and time again on the show, is like there's so much things that we just don't have time to go do. And one of them is one of the activities that Josh does all the time, which is mountain snow machining, which is its own culture. It's its own thing. And I get invited all the time from Josh and my brother, and you know, half my crew is that crew.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like I can't get out there and do all that stuff, you know, not because I can't afford to go get a snow machine, but it's like, man, I do so much other stuff. Like, where's the time that I'm going to just spend with my kids? They're still young, and my family and all that. And it just shows that you got to pick and choose like these activities that you want to do. and there's just not enough time to just do them all.
Yeah, different priorities for sure.
You got ski, hockey, ice fishing, snow machining. You can't fit them all in.
Yeah.
And you gotta gear up for most of those. Winter sports take a lot of gear. Ice biking.
Yeah, everything. You gotta be ready to get geared up for whatever you want to do. And you're never, like you said, you're never going to be able to conquer them all. That for me, the snow machining is that it's the only being, like we talk, like multiple revenue streams, doing this and that, this business, that thing going on, this thing, the kids, that's
the hustle, man.
That's
Just
the
getting
hustle.
after it.
Yeah. The hustle. Like that's the only time in my life where where my mind is like completely empty of everything else. I'm only thinking of the next turn. I'm just in amaze at where these machines will take us. And, you go out with the boys. I ride, Carlo, Daniel's brother, is like my best riding partner, Carlo and Cisco, and those guys, The other thing is when you're out in those elements, you got to be careful who you're with, because you got to make sure this person's going to have your back when shit hits the fan. Right. And those guys, I know through years of experience with them, like they're going to be there tried and true no matter what. They're never going to stop looking for you if you're separated. But you get out in the woods with those guys and in the powder and just at the base of Denali or somewhere off in Cantwell or mile 131 or, on the top of Shredder's Gulch out in
Shredder's
Johnson's
Gulch,
Pass,
yeah.
Out in Johnson's Pass. Yeah. Shredder's Gulch, man. It's just, the views are amazing. You're drinking with the boys, you're having beers, you're just enjoying life. And there's really nothing like that feeling,
For sure.
It's throttle therapy is really like it's a true thing.
Ooh, hashtag throttle therapy.
Throttle therapy.
It is a thing, man.
Those resets are so important.
Just so important. And I bought a motorcycle last summer, and I've been wanting a motorcycle. I have, my uncles, all three of my uncles ride, and they've been trying to get me to go with them and get a motorcycle. And I just finally pulled the trigger last summer. And I'll tell you what, going from the wintertime snow machine throttle therapy to having it at your fingertips out of the garage every day when you get home from work or riding to work, and it's something else.
There's
man.
a close correlation there.
A very close correlation. I get on, I do a loop around the city, the sun's beaming. I got a couple King Streets, don't tell nobody, but got a couple in the pack.
Too late there, bud.
Might pull over, and we're not. It's just us, right?
Yeah, nobody's actually listening. That's true.
Might pull over, have one downtown or whatever, and just the whole thing of the ride, it's just freedom, man. Like when you're on those things, you got to be focused on those type of vehicles.
Watch your six.
Yeah, you got to be focused. You got to be in what you're doing. You can't be distracted. You can't be thinking of something else. And so it allows you to just be present in the moment, because all of us know, we have kids and businesses and life and job and all this. And you can become consumed with that to the point where you stop living your actual life and enjoying the moments. And that's what it allows you to do, is like be in the moment, enjoy the time, and like just really like, kind of reset your mind, like you said.
Yeah. I want to touch up on a little bit more of your history with the snow machining thing. I mean, from my point of view, I think we started off, me and Josh used to go snowboarding a lot. We were big time snowboarders. It's probably why my knees fucked up.
Yeah.
Trying to hit these cliffs and do 720s and try to do crazy jump Eagle Rock and, do stupid things. And we decided to go, shout out to Liska and Cody and all those guys over there at Crude. We started going out to Thompson's Pass to go out there and do the snowboard thing on their event. What's the event called?
Not hill climb, but
Tailgate.
Tailgate.
Yeah.
To the tailgate.
Tailgate Alaska.
Yeah, shout out to the tailgate.
That's top level major shit, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Did
we're
you guys
just
ever
East Side
play
boys,
that?
and we're like, we go out there and ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I took the Yamaha VMAX out there, and I
That
think
was the first year I got my first, I think it was 2010. I got my first Skidoo. Ended up being the demo sled from
BMDS,
Mining
the
and Diving.
summit. Yeah.
And I didn't know that at the time, but apparently Phil Locker was dropping it off a cliff, so this 300-pound self, and all kind of stories came out afterwards.
It was a perfect training wheel
it
sled
was a
for
good
you,
sled,
bro.
though.
Don't worry
Yeah,
about that.
Got me in the game for
A
sure.
little shout out
The
there
other-
to
the
Washington
next-
State football.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Phil Walker.
Yeah.
He's down there with me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't playing, but
Yeah.
I think
So
that
we
tunnel
started
needs a little
off
straightening,
snowboarding,
so.
as most kids do at Rush and Jack. I taught myself how to snowboard, and I'm sure you taught yourself at some point probably at Russian Jack too.
Yep.
And we started going to Hilltop and going down the Eska and doing all this stuff. And then we decided to go snow machining. I think my brother was already kind of getting into it, and Cisco was into it. And that was our first like foray into, you know, extreme like mountain riding, you know. And I think we actually went before Tailgate. They took a hiatus there, and we decided to go for some. Was it the first time? Or
Well, you guys. So when I went, it was the second year that you had been, and that you guys went the year prior. And then that's kind of how it is with me. Like I let you guys figure everything out, and then I come and kill the shit. So like,
well, I remember it was 2010 when I put out my album.
that was the second year.
That was the second year. So
Or
we,
no. I'm sorry. That was the first year because remember I stayed in town. I'm like, oh, we got to hand out these flyers. I stayed in
that's
town
right.
to go promote.
That's right.
That's right. And then you guys went out there, and that's when you did the show at the
At
they
the
had a party.
Rendezvous. Oh man,
Yeah.
with Farmer and all those guys. But that
Travis
was like
Rice
the
was there,
initial
yeah.
foray into you really getting into snow machining, because we were snowboarding and we're like, well, we can't afford the helicopter to drop us off. But guess what? Cisco and Carlo, we can get the snow machine from my dad, the Yamaha VMAX, dude, and we'll just gun it up the mountain
Yeah.
and get dropped off by our boys and
Yeah.
for free, you know? And so we took my parents' motorhome, and I think someone else had
Bobby's.
another
Yeah.
motorhome, and we just went out there like, let's go do it. You know, we never been there, never, you know, we're going to go to snowboard, you know?
Yeah.
And then that was the start of you.
That was when I got my first. I was going to ride. So with snowboarding, I snowboarded kind of my whole. First I started out skiing, and then I got a snowboard, and I kind of never looked back. And that was maybe like, you know, junior high school era or something like that. And then with that trip, in 2010, Carlo and them were talking about snow machining. So I bought a snow machine, and I've never been to Alyeska since, not one time. I never went snowboarding again. So I bought a snow machine, and just like where it can take you to, and you know, the power that you have and the way it feels and everything about that. I mean, when you're off in some powder turns in the trees, like on a snowman, you know,
Oh, dude.
it's the most. And I've been trying to tell this guy the whole time, like, hey, how are we out here doing this? And I FaceTime. Now we got better signal.
Oh,
So I'm
yeah.
just off in Cantwell, just deep in the trees, like 6 beers down, a couple of jizzies, me and Cisco, you know, just I'm FaceTiming this guy, like, look at what you're missing right now.
Yeah.
And he wants to buy a Scandic. You know, he doesn't even have a cabin yet.
Yeah, I want to.
He's a
I want the
family
old
guy.
man.
I'm a family guy too. I have more kids than anybody. That's the thing I
that's
don't
the
understand.
truth,
Like
bro.
when I
But
hear that
kids-
story, I'm like, yeah, I'm a family guy too. But you know what? You have to make time for yourself too. Like
That's right.
you have a family,
Very true.
and that's good. And your responsibility is to be a great dad, and you always do. You know, but you have to also have time with the boys. You have to get away from your family. You can't be with your wife 24/7. You got to have your time to like be a man and get out in the woods and go do your thing. You know.
Yeah. Well, the thing with me is I get a lot of that time.
Yeah.
It's just not. In
It's
the
just
winter.
priorities. You choose
Yeah.
to do it in a different way.
Yeah.
You know. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So.
But I'll get that Scandic.
Yeah.
I'll be Scandic.
well, I got
We
an
wanna
extra
get that cabin.
I just snow checked a Lynx.
That's nasty, dude.
You know what
nasty.
we need?
I'm gonna have 2 next year. So
Cody,
there's really
link up
no-
a show. Me and Boots coming back. Invite Farmer back up to the Rendezvous,
Let's go.
and we'll
There we
just
go.
go set it off one time. AWP crude, and just have a
just do it.
foray.
Go rip.
But there's no
just a full
excuse
rip.
next year. Like I got a couple extra sleds.
Yeah, no more excuses. Well,
I'm in.
I think the excuse was always the
Let's go.
Yamaha. I always had the VMAX, dude.
Yeah.
And
Dude, that thing rips too.
hey,
Don't
I
worry
pulled
about
many a
that.
caribou with that fucking thing.
Oh,
dude.
yeah.
That
But that's
thing's
the thing.
that
But
thing's
that's
ready
the
to
thing
rip.
now. Like the difference between even my 2014 800 Skidoo versus my 850 Expert that I bought this year is night and day. I mean, I can have the dad bag fully loaded with all the survival gear, and I got a
100
gauntlet.
pounds of gear.
I got stranded in
You got one of these?
yeah, I got everything. I got stranded out in Petersville one day, separated from the crew, and kind of had a like.
Oh, let's go into that story actually.
Okay, so I'm out there with my buddy.
Classic snow
It's,
machine story too.
when you're snow machining, you always want to have 3. Like ideally, you want 3 people because sometimes just one extra person, it's hard to get the unstuck. If
Yeah.
you get into a tight spot. But I'm out there with my boy. Lifetime friend. I've known him my whole life. Badass dude.
We don't want to say the name.
Yeah, my boy Shaman. We're out there.
Shawnee.
Yep. We're out there together. So we're riding, and we're on the main trail, which is kind of like a highway out there.
Yeah.
And we're just having a great day. It's a Sunday, you know. We haven't seen anybody else out there the whole time, so we're playing in between. Basically, it's like the trail's on the left side, and then there's a big opening lake, and then there's trees in the middle, and then there's another lake with the trail on the left side the whole way through, right? So we're playing, and we kind of like get separated. We basically like find each other, and we're like, all right, if we get separated, let's meet back at this spot, right? So anyway, 5 minutes later, we're separated again because it's just one of those days where it's powder and we're playing, we're having a blast, and we get separated. I go back to the spot. I wait for him for 45 minutes or whatever. He doesn't show up, and I'm like, shit, what the hell's going on, right? So turns out he didn't know how to get back to wherever we had said we were going to meet. So he ended up finding the trail out of there, and he's long gone. He's waiting for me at the roadhouse, right? So I use all my gas looking for this guy, and I'm still kind of a rookie rider. Like, I don't know, you know, I'm not the best in powder and shit at this point. So I use all my gas looking for this guy, and finally, like, I'm like, all right, like, I use my jerry can, so I've used all the gas I have at this point, and I'm like, all right, I got to get back to the trail. I like go through all this stuff looking, and there's trails going everywhere, which way, but except for back to the trail. And at the same time, it was a windy day, so the trail how it was normally a highway that you could see visibly, it had got wind drifted over. So it had all got wind drifted over on that lake, which is, you know, 1,000 yards long. So the trail just disappears, and then there's fresh tracks going this way and that way. And if you've been to Petersville, everything kind of like looks
The same.
right. So anyway, I run out of gas basically, like, after looking for him, using all my gas, and get back to luckily I run out of gas right on the main trail, but it disappears. And so I basically, like, kind of had like a moment where I'm like freaking out because I don't have nothing, and this guy's gone, and it's 3:30, it's Sunday, you know, there's no one around, anything. And then I'm like, all right, well, I have to, like, survive, right? So, like, after the first emotional, like, 20 minutes of, like, what the hell's going on, like,
Yeah.
I decide, like, all right, I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna live, right? So I build like a snow cave type of thing next to this base of this tree. I'm just ripping wood for like 3 hours. I get like 3 big ass piles of wood built up, and I'm like, I have a lighter and I have some oil, so I can make a fire.
This is pre-dad bag.
Pre-dad bag, and you know, my uncle was always telling me, like, anytime you're going to go in Alaska in the woods, you better be prepared to spend the night. Like, you better have your shit. And
That's right.
That's, like, against what the snow machine riders, you know, like, when you're out ripping pow, like, everyone's kind of traveling light. And, you know, a lot of guys aren't necessarily fully educated or taking it or respecting it the way they should until they've been in that situation. So it kind of gets looked over in the, like, hunt for pow and just, you know, having fun out there.
Right.
And so basically, like, I'm out there with nothing, you know. So I make the snow cave. I put line it with the spruce trees. And this is, like, limited just survival knowledge I know, but just from living here, but nothing that I've been, like,
Not from a class.
I have no class.
training.
I have no training. I have no nothing, right? So I make my snow bed. I build, like, 3 big ass piles of wood that are, like, you know, as tall as me, but it's wood that's going to burn quick. It's nothing thick or anything. So I'm trying to get a lot of it. It gets dark. So this ordeal starts at like 2 p.m. on a Sunday. It ends at like 9:30 p.m. So
But it gets dark at 3.
It gets dark at, it gets dark. Like, so now I'm in there. I have no gun too, by the way. So I'm like tripping because I'm thinking I see like eyeballs way across.
Right.
Like, I'm thinking about wolves and whatever's out there, right? Like, you know, when you're by yourself, it gets real out there. Especially when you have nothing to defend
I have a
yourself.
correlation to that. Remember the time me and you went and we ran out of gas and you left me right on the trail and I stayed there, like, instead of going with you for like 3 hours with no gun, no nothing.
Yeah.
And all I could hear was the wolves howling.
Oh,
Yeah. So it's like that, you know, and you're kind of in that, like, no man's land. It's eerie, right? So I had,
It's
like,
a great word, eerie.
Yeah, it's very eerie. So, you know, fast forward, I get this stuff going. I'm getting ready to light a fire, and I hear, like, a snow machine. I say a prayer because I'm like, you know, I say a prayer. I have a come to Jesus meeting, and literally 5 seconds after I say amen, shit you not, I hear a snow machine coming up, and I'm like, oh, I run, and it's this lady comes up. To this day, I don't know if it's the lady from the Alaska show, Sue, that lives in Kavik or whatever.
Sue Akins?
Yeah, I
Sue
feel like
Nea?
in my heart it was her because I'm pretty sure it was, but I don't know. Anyway, she comes up. There's this 50-year-old lady comes on the trail at 9:30 at night or whatever, and she's like, she comes up to me, and I'm just like, oh, thank you. You know, like this is after I say my prayer, everything.
Yeah.
Come to her, and I'm like, oh my God. I said, do you believe in God? And she said, yep. And I've been his messenger out here more than once. And I just literally lost it. I started crying. You know, I just had a moment right there. Yeah. And then so the worst part of it was like, up until that point, I have been, you know, active. I'm moving. I'm trying to survive. So I didn't stop to think or whatever. And then I had the same experience like what I did to you, where I left to go get the gas. She's like, well, I don't have any gas, but let me go back to my house and I'll get you. She was coming home from hunting. That's why I think she's 50-year-old lady or whatever, older lady coming home from hunting on a sled with like snowshoes and a rifle
By herself.
By herself, going to her cabin. Badass. Yeah. So she like leaves, and I'm just like, I think I'm saved, but am I saved? You know? And then so I had to wait there for 45 minutes for her to go to her cabin and come back and give me the gas. She gets me the gas, I ride out, and then we're good to go. Long story longer with that. Next day I go to REI, spend like $1,000. I buy everything. Every survival piece that you could get. I buy the button, like you push the button, the helicopters come in.
The soul blanket.
The locator, the blanket, every fire
Shout
starter.
out to Cisco, sold out.
The pot, everything.
Sweating in your sleep mask.
So where were your buddies on this?
So,
the homie that was.
My homie was, you know, he
Josh will make it.
He was looking for me the same way I was looking for him, but it was Petersville, and like I said, everything looks the same. And
every
he got twisted up
swamp.
in the swamp, whatever, and he ended up trying to look for me too, and he found a trail, and then he went back to the lodge. He called my wife, like he didn't know my wife, so he like Facebook messaged her and, you know, was calling the trooper. Like he was making every effort to call the troopers and tell them where we were. But being that we're so twisted up out there, his idea of where we were and where I actually was really far off, right? Because, and that's the thing about like, you know, so moving forward, I ended up getting, you know, the walkie-talkies, the radio, and it saved Carlo, for example, on one of our trips in Petersville, because we were riding with Chad, rest in peace, and he, you know, Chad was like a navigator out there. Like he was that guy that would just, you know, he's gonna
get you back to the truck.
You back to the truck
every time.
Come help you. He was one of those great guys, you know. And we're riding back at night, and when you ride with Chad in Petersville, you don't go on the trail. You go off trail as soon as you leave the truck.
Yeah, and don't leave his track.
Yeah, so you're following him, and we're coming back, and then there's it's easy to get separated out there, and there's a big group of people that kind of merged with us on this swamp, and, you know, we went this way, and Carlo somehow drifted left, and he ended up being 5 miles to the left of us, and I, you know, one of the things that I got after that experience was just a bunch of walkie-talkies, so every time we all go out, none of those guys have a BCA or whatever, so I just bring 4 or 5 walkie-talkies, and whoever's with us, I throw them a walkie-talkie, and worst case scenario, like, we get split up, we can at least, and it's like the simplest thing that you don't think of. Yeah. And, you know,
they do work so well, dude.
It works so good. And how many times can you save yourself by just having a $80 pack of walkie-talkies?
Yeah.
Either
and
that,
like talk to your boys,
or
you
the
know,
the inReach where you do the go-to feature. You know, you can point if you see someone over there, and you can send it to another person, or, you know, you can send your location.
Yeah.
Listen, you should not go out in Alaska anywhere if you do not have an inReach.
I agree.
Yeah.
Just don't do it.
Yeah.
No matter if you're going to the Russian River, or no matter if you're going on your bike in the woods, you can get lost out there.
Now that it's available, because, you know, 10, 15 years ago, that wasn't really a thing that we could be talking about.
Yeah.
But now that it is a piece of equipment that is now readily available,
it's a must-have.
You're
It's 1/4 of the price.
I don't want to
of
say
a
what
cell
I
phone.
want to say, but I just want to say it's just not a very good decision not to
Right.
at this point.
And I have the extra one that the first one that I got when I got to RA. This was before the inReach came out. I got like
The spot.
It's not even a spot, but so they told me
The DeLorem.
I forget what it's called, but they told me to go. It was against the spot, and it's like a little green unit, and you unfold the antenna, and it comes
something
up.
go or
but
whatever.
it goes off of polar satellites, where I think the spot goes off of satellites that are located near the equator. And so what they told me was that sometimes when you're down in a valley or in something like that, you might not be able to get your signal might not get out. And so I got this one. And so now I bring the spot with me, and I have the other one, and usually I'll give it to Carlo or I'll give it to Cisco. And I'm like, if shit hits the fan, like push the button.
Yeah,
you know?
totally.
And I know it works because I actually accidentally set it off in my garage last year.
Chopper came.
Chopper called.
Boniface?
Yeah, they called. They're like, "Is it?" Yeah. So I had to wave off the cavalry or whatever.
They called your cell phone?
Yeah, I called them, and he was like, "Oh, I was getting ready to call you." I was like, "Yeah, I just set this off on accident. I was cleaning out, getting the bag ready to go hunting or whatever. Cleaned it out. Somehow trying to test it and set it off. And you can't turn it off. You have to call them
Oh,
or whatever."
yeah.
So I called him and let him know, like, "Hey, don't send the chopper over to Boniface and Northern Lights. So we're good over here." You know.
Don't need the helivac.
And let me just answer this question, because I get this question a lot, and we've gotten this question on our email and things like that, on what is the best communication in Alaska when you're out there. And we've had trial and error with the sat phone and the spot, and by far the Garmin inReach is what you need to have.
Yep.
You just,
yeah.
I get it all the time. I see it on the forums. I see it on the BHA thing, and I see it on the Facebook Hunters forums and the other big one. The answer is, for Alaska, the Garmin inReach works the
Yeah,
best.
the Explorer
Hands
Plus.
down.
Hands down. I've been in situations where we're in the Brooks Range or we're in the Wrangles, and the sat phone doesn't work, the spot doesn't work, but the Garmin inReach will get out the signal.
And you can inReach to inReach, which
That's
is super important,
love
right?
that,
Because
man.
a lot of times your party gets split up out there, and just like Josh and Carlo's story, and you can inReach them. The key though is to get that worked out in town before you go, because it is very nuanced with like how you enter the number or the email, and just test it out. And sometimes you have to turn on and off features, but from the web. So,
Let me continue on that, because we had to deal with that before. If you're with the inReach and you're out, you can always text to someone that's in a city or in phone signal all the time.
Yep.
Like, it's going to work. But if you're trying to text your buddy and you're separated and both of you don't have a phone signal, you have to have his contact, not his cell phone contact in there. You have to have his inReach contact, which is their email. I want to say it's whatever your email is at inreach. Garmin.
Garmin.com.
Yep.
Yeah.
Set
Very
it up
specific.
before you go out, because you never know when you're going to need to text your buddy. Like, we get broken up all the time. We're on sheep hunts and we're like, hey, we're going to go over here. You're going to go over there. You're going 10 miles this way. We're going 10 miles this way. If you need help, let us know. Weather comes in, things like that. And so be sure to check that in. And it's an email. So just have that set before you got there, because that's the worst thing in the world when you get out there and you pull out this thing. You don't play with it a lot because you're only using it on certain times of the year.
Couple times a year.
Have it set up so that you're ready to go.
I had that. Oh, sorry. I had that experience too with another. I've been separated twice. I got separated from Carlo and Cisco another time, and I had the handheld Garmin, but I wasn't familiar with how to use it. I had marked the truck, and I had it, but when it came to navigating my way back, that would have been a whole nother story. So luckily I found some, good old Alaskan guys that got me out of there. But
Yeah, always drop the breadcrumbs. Always set that out so you can find your way back, because you never know when you're going to get turned around.
Red Ribbon Gang.
And that's one of the other best things about the Garmin inReach is that when I leave, I have those 2 or 3 people that every trip I send my tracking to. So it's tracking within the foot the whole time at that interval, to whatever you set it at. If you're flying airplanes, you want it set at like 1 minute. If you're hiking, you want it set at 10 minutes or whatever. But you packing out that goat 3 years ago with Jake in the middle of the night down a bear trail for 6 miles. We got off the trail, and we wouldn't have been able to get out that night if we didn't find that trail again. And it was amazing with the thing, Bluetooth to my phone. I was able to look at the phone and go, I need to walk 10 feet to the left.
Yeah.
And walk over, and there's like, oh, here's this bear trail. We're back on it. We're going to get home tonight.
Yep.
That's happened with us with the on snow machining with the Gia app. So I'll use that. I'll track the route in, and then we're, you know, like in Cantwell, we come in. There's one way to go in, and the rest of it's like, you know, cliff coming out, and so you gotta come out the same way that you came in, or you could be in for something if you try to find your own way.
Eagle Rock, record name.
Yeah. So that's helped
360
us.
off the rock.
You know, you watch your route in, and you know, I'm
ACL.
I'm half a mile this way. I gotta go. You know, so it definitely helps. But so you're saying with the spot, you actually share that location with someone in town?
So so on the inReach, you can
with the Garmin,
Right. So every trip I take, if I'm leaving the Whittier Harbor, or if I'm about to leave the road system on a sheep hunt, or even if I'm flying in on a sheep hunt, immediately I share the coordinates with 3 people, usually two for sure, and there's a third one that I know will save my life, and also know my plan. When I should be in contact and stuff. So if one of them doesn't hear from me, or something happens to that person, the other person's there, and they're all aware that they all have it, so they can get together and talk. And I think that's really important for Alaska. You want to have that. Okay, this is the minute. Anything past this minute, if you don't hear from me, then it's time to like go on high alert. And then there's this other time after that, you know, 6 hours, 8 hours after that this is when you send in some help. Or start actually taking action.
Yeah, because when something actually happens, you know, the time is of the essence, and it's important to get a response quick.
And let me tell you, it's $25 a month to have the unlimited 10-minute tracking, and you get a certain amount of texts. I think it's 40 a month. So it's well worth it. And the question that we also get is the normal inReach versus the mini inReach. And my thought process with that is, if your phone dies, the mini is like kind of useless. You know, if you don't have the map, and it's a pain in the ass to connect. I just feel like the main one, like, and the battery. You didn't
tell me that when I bought my mini.
The battery's like, I haven't charged this thing in probably 2 years, dude.
Yeah,
it's
you
probably
never
like
charge it. I have the mini, and so I never charge it, but I have a phone with the
so if your phone dies,
charger.
The mini, you can't get your hold of your contacts.
Right.
Yeah. So that's why I'm like, just get the regular one. It's a little bit heavier. It's double the size, but it's 100% better.
But you know, we always have the, like, so my phone has the extra battery, and then I also have the charge in with 5. So I mean, you know,
I think what if your phone gets wet?
True.
Which
but
is
but I'm saying you didn't tell me this when I called you.
Well,
to
I didn't
ask
know
you which
that.
one to buy.
I didn't.
So this is new game.
Well, yeah, this is new game.
Okay.
We're listening right now.
As you have the big Garmin and I have the mini. I see.
Yeah, I mean, I like the mini for a lot of situations, but
so
when you outweigh the possibility of your phone being messed up,
that makes sense. Yeah.
It's just like this, and it has the map right there. So if you're trying to link with the mini and you're trying to get out on your bread trail, and the phone dies, dude, or it gets wet, you're done, dude.
Depending on that.
Yeah, and we've been in situations in Sitka where we had to get out and use your inReach, like.
Yep.
So I got a mini for sale.
Like $50
if anybody wants it, hit me up. It'll be on Facebook Marketplace.
Get a waterproof case there, Boots.
I got the mini.
I think that the other thing that Alaskans don't realize is they're like, oh, I'm going to go on my first sheep hunt this year, so I'm going to go buy that on, July 10th. That inReach isn't available in Anchorage in 1 month from now.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's like Heather's Choice right before sheep hunting. They're off the shelves. So if people want inReaches, they need to go
get it now.
Buy them now.
Get ahead of the game.
Get ahead. Yeah.
Speaking of Heather's Choice is an affiliate of ours. If you're looking to buy your backpacking gear, your hiking gear, your hunting gear, we have a promo code for Heather's Choice. The promo code is Alaska Wild. Put that in, you get 50% off of your entire order. It helps 2 to 3 Alaskan-based companies, and you're already going to buy the stuff. Listen, I'm not hating on REI or Sportsman Warehouse or Cabela's, but when you go to her website, you're literally putting the money into Alaskans' pockets versus some of these big box stores. Promo code Alaska Wild for Heather's Choice gluten-free organic meals. Do your body a favor. Go to heatherschoice.com. Promo code Alaska Wild.
Alaska Wild.
Sounds
Yeah, it's
good.
badass. She really came through for us on that, dude. And what a surprise too. She
It's just
like,
Alaska
did it,
supporting
and-
Alaskans.
Yeah, she just in the treehouse, the same thing. Like
Yep.
there's Alaskans really will step up when they see something that's true,
Yeah.
and they know they know it, and
Just keep it in the circle. I mean,
Yeah.
I had Daniel, I had the Anchortown dogs at my store
yesterday,
last
right?
night. Yeah, celebrating 420. He was out there cooking up dogs from 5:30 to 8. I was over at Jack's Cidery getting mimosa ciders and the amazing local greens. I mean, so listen, this local green thing, it's really something different because, what I like to do, I like to support all my friends. If my friends are doing business, I'm going to their friends or to their business first. So, of course, the trash cans at my store are Northern Waste. They're nobody else because those are the boys that I went to high school with. So I'm going to go to them. If I need my car fixed, I'm going to go to Abel. If I want to buy some cider, I'm going to go to Jack. If I need I'm just going to support the guys that I grew up with and that are doing business because I feel like that's the way it should be. Yesterday I bought a new truck, finalized it today. Got it from my boy Ricky over at Lithia Kia. He's the best ever. He takes care of me every time. Eric Connick over there. I mean, they just hands down, walk in, red carpet. You don't got to do nothing, easy peasy, right? And so I think that's just the way it is. You got to support the people around you that are doing quality stuff and keep the money rotating.
Yeah, and none of these people that we're suggesting you guys go to, like, these are our friends.
Yeah.
We're telling you these guys are going to treat you right. Like, go see them, and you're going to be done right. And if not, tell us, and guess what? We'll tell them.
Yeah.
Be like,
For
hey,
sure.
bro, you messed up on this. You need
Yeah.
to get it right, or
Yeah.
whatever it may be.
But regardless, they're gonna come through. I mean, we don't.
Well, we deal with people that treat people right all around.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the whole point of that was the local greens. I went
Nice.
to buy the local greens. I took it home. Jack was nice enough to give me a 4-pack of cider, gave me a couple extra packs of greens. We dropped some off to my wife's mom and her father over there, and then we went home. We ate some that night in a salad. It was amazing. But the best was we came home from the Winter King Derby. Well, we were lucky enough to get a king.
Oh, we got to come back to that.
Literally 5 minutes after it opened, we dropped the first line. Brandon's brother Dan, boom, catch it. As soon as Eric hands him the pole.
Rod bender.
Rod bender right out. We thought we won the Derby. Boom.
Oh, man.
It looked like a big fish.
It was a big fish. It looked real big in a small net, right? Yeah. So
Maybe we got that little rubber net on his boat.
Yep.
dude.
So rest of the day, nothing. Not a bite, not a nothing. We fish all the way till the end. We get nothing. But I'll tell you what, you get home and we each got, I think, two. We got two. We split it up. We had the fish company process it out there. Never had to touch it or whatever after the weighing. And we each got 2 bags of fish. Went home. My wife cooked it up. We had the local greens, the bok choy on there. And I'll tell you what, it was amazing, you guys. Like the freshness of the greens. And Jack's big on this, and it's another passion project that he's putting his heart and soul into with the boys over there at the cidery. And I'll tell you what, man, that stuff is actually amazing. So make sure that you guys head over there and pick up some local greens because there's a big difference in stuff that's flown up here or barged up here versus stuff that these guys are growing in that amazing environment over there. So it's
and the comparison that I like to say is if you've ever had like regular shrimp from Cars or Nusagaya and you go get it, and then you actually find a friend that has a boat and you get out in Prince William Sound and you get some of that shrimp from out there,
It's 12 hours old.
dude, you're like night and day. You're like, what have I been eating this whole time?
Change your
it's
life.
insane.
I
And
didn't
it's-
know
it's-
shrimp tastes like this.
No, exactly. And it's like, people that are gardeners, and shout out to all the gardeners, and my wife is a gardener and we do the gardening and that's a short window of when you're getting those fresh greens.
Yeah.
And you guys are providing that all year long with
year round.
local greens _AK on Instagram. Go get a subscription. It's cheap. and you're getting the freshest, like they're literally going to the garden and cutting it for you while you sit there and wait for them to get it. It's like,
you get a mimosa cider.
yeah, get a mimosa cider. By the time you finish it, you got your fresh greens in your hand and you're eating the best greens right there. Like,
It's
you
something
can't,
else.
it's amazing.
Yeah, we appreciate the shout out, boys, and it's awesome to hear the stories of people cooking with it, and then people that have been, you know, cooking with products like bok choy like their whole life, and then come in and are like, wow, this is a game changer. You know, during COVID, I think we all realized that we just don't have sustainable produce in Alaska. So, you know, we're trying to do our part. This isn't something we're trying to, you know, go buy a new ocean boat with. This is for the community. We want more delicious, fresh greens in people's diets because that's what we deserve and we need as Alaskans. We're lacking it. And there's just so much more substance to and freshness to it. And when you come in and you get it, like the subscriptions, we're cutting it that morning, that afternoon, when, you know, based on when you're coming in. So then it's fresh and it'll last a month. You go to Costco or somewhere. I love Costco, you know. I know you don't love Costco, Daniel, but
I love Costco.
You just don't love going there. Yeah.
But actually, one question that my wife had, because, you know, she's signing up and she wants to sign up for a bunch, but if you're still a gardener, and this is what I told her, she's like, well, I don't want to sign up for some of the things that we're going to grow. I was like, well, sign up for the other things. You don't have to sign up for a certain green,
so you don't have to sign up for a certain green. You can get something different, and you have those options. And the other thing we can do is we can give you bulbs, and we can give you a live plant to plant.
So for Mother's Day, you're telling me people can come down a double shovel, get the bulbs that your family likes to eat, try it first, buy a bag or two, be like, boom, I want like this, I like that, and get the actual bulbs.
That's absolutely right.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, it's one of those things where you hear about it and it's not, you know, the idea makes sense and everything, but when you actually taste it, you know, my wife cooks with a lot of bok choy, and this bok choy in particular with the Kachemak Bay salmon, the king salmon, I mean, the way it pops and I mean, it's amazing, man. And I think once people taste it and you'll notice the difference right away.
Yeah. I had my first salad with really awesome sandwich my wife made. She made a sandwich and a salad. I sent you that picture.
Yeah.
And it was like you could taste, you know, that like soily fresh, refreshing, like just hits your palate on the back of your tongue.
Yeah. If you ever had something fresh out of the garden,
like literally just almost just came out of the ground. Yeah, it has that. And this isn't just, you know, hype up local greens. Like, this is real. It's that good. No. It's that fresh.
For me, I don't. If I'm saying it's real, I'm not gonna make up a story.
No. If Josh is, the guy, you should probably buy it.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Well, the cool thing is, like,
we hang your hat on it.
We love the farming here, and everyone should have their gardens and even make them bigger. You know, as long as you can eat it all. Mm-hmm. But this is something that, you know, we want to support and do make this available year round.
Right.
You know, so it's like,
which is a huge challenge for anybody that's not going to go out and spend the money to have one of the, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, not everybody can do that.
Yeah, and the work. I mean, it is.
The effort.
You're farming.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work that goes into it.
A lot of work in farming, believe it or not.
Yep. Speaking about farming, I kind of want to transition that into the Treehouse, and Josh is, man, he's one of our platinum sponsors, dude. He's one of the guys that saw the vision from the beginning. You know, obviously one of our friends, one of the investors in Alaska Wild Project and the owner of Treehouse AK. One of the guys that's been, you know, involved in the cannabis culture for longer than we could say. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, if you haven't been up to that store yet, we're going to just do a slight, we're not going to do the traditional ad read because we haven't been saying it right from the guy who's on the mic all the time. But
who said that? I never said that. You guys are doing an amazing job.
If you haven't been up to the Treehouse yet, it's another place that is one of those uniquely Alaskan places where you can go in there and feel like you're still in Alaska, but you're like in a unique, original place where you can talk to those people up there. I just had my event up there for the 420 with Anchortown Dogs, and you meet the staff there, and you meet the ladies there, and you meet Chris there, the manager. I mean, you ask these guys a question, whether you're talking about your dog and CBD, or you're talking about you got a date on Saturday night, or you're about to go on this trip and you need something to mellow out. These guys are providing something, not only an experience, but the knowledge where like you're satisfied that you actually receive something that you're going to use and actually get benefit from it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to talk about a little bit about that, and just to pump up the Treehouse, your inspiration for that, and like the start of that, and the building of that, and for you to just have one of those stores in Boniface. It's right on Boniface, almost when you get to the
exit to the parks right
the
there.
exit to the parks there, right on the base, right in the strip mall. Shout out to Austin Cop and Northwest Flyers and all that right there, right on the end of Boniface, truly East Side.
Yeah.
What was the thought process of building that, and how's it been? The love that you're getting from the community from that.
Yeah. So it started like, the funny story about that is that my grandpa was the first state farm agent in Alaska, and I think Chuck's dad, who's the owner of that unit, was the first field adjuster in Alaska. So our family history goes back for years. When cannabis became legal in 2014, I drove around that night with my wife because I've been involved in cannabis culture my whole life, like a lot of people around here, and so it was just a part of our existence. And I knew that when it became legal, it was something that I was gonna do one way or the other. So I kind of had my sights set on it. So that night I drove around with my wife. I drove all around town. I saw where Enlighten was at, and that was the spot I originally first wanted to get, but I was worried about the proximity to the school being so close to West High and everything.
Yep.
So we drove all through town, all through Spenard, everything like that. I live on Boniface and Northern Lights area. So I came home down the highway, and I drove past Northwest Auto Parts in that strip mall. And I did a U-turn, and I came back, and I drove down that street, and I told her, I was like, this is where I need to be. Like, these are my boys. I play hockey with Chuck, play hockey with Chris. I've known Chris my whole life. Like, our families are connected. I just told her, like, this is where I was going to be, and that was it. And it never, it didn't happen until 3 years later that I got the spot. But it's just funny how that whole thing comes full circle, because that night I drove around with the vision and told her that was the spot. So we went through some ups and downs. I almost partnered with another grow that didn't work out. Ended up getting a grow with a buddy of mine out in the valley. And then the way that I got that spot was I ran into Chuck at the coffee cart right on Northern Lights and Boniface.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And so he's getting, Chuck is just an awesome guy, legend, like the best kind of mentor you could have, just a great businessman. He owns Northwest Auto Parts and that whole land over there and tons of other stuff.
Badass Alaskan too.
Just
dude.
a badass Alaskan, hunting, fishing. Yeah,
he's the realest of the real.
Raised 3 great boys, just a real solid guy and a real good mentor for me to have, and blessed to have him in my life. And the whole the relationship and everything is just amazing. And so I was getting a coffee that morning, and I see him through the window, and I'm like, "Hey, let me buy that guy the coffee," because we play men's league together.
Yeah.
And he's like 70, and he's still playing men's league, right?
That's awesome.
So he's like everything we want to be, right?
Oh, yeah.
Go to the Salty Dog, out drink you, everything, right?
Yeah.
Him and Dave Tidings,
Yeah.
the old
Give
codger.
his kid a hard time
Got to be
for
the
flying
first
home
old
the next
codgers.
day.
Yeah, well, we won't talk about it.
Yeah.
Dave and Chuck, we're waiting for you to come in here.
Yeah, dude, I've been hearing the stories. What I really want to hear is the farewell bison hunt, like that ride.
last
I
one.
want to
You
know.
have to get a
like-
half a bottle of
Yeah,
red
no,
breast.
I
We're
will.
doing
I'll
the
have it
red
all.
breast.
I'll have it
Yeah.
all, and just get those old boys in here and
Yeah.
let's do this thing, because I got to hear about that shit.
Yeah. So anyway, I see Chuck in the coffee, and he's like, "Hey, by the way, that unit came available," and it's the old. It was a grow store and it was a gun store before. He's like, "Hey, that unit came available," and I'm like, I can't do it, Chuck. I don't got enough money or whatever." I told him, and then like half an hour goes by, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, and this is 2017. I'm thinking, man, there's no way I got to do this. Like,
Yeah.
I got to just lock it up. Like, I'll figure out a way later.
That's right.
Right. And so I call him back, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm going to go look at it." So I go look at it with Chris, and I'm like, "You know what? I'm going to get it." So I get it, whatever. And then fast forward, from 2017 to we opened in July 2020. And during the time that we first got involved in it, there was a much longer wait in the queue with the state. Like you had to get a spot, get everything figured out, and then you'd be waiting 9 months before you got your approval. Nowadays, like our buddy Justin with the Hanger, another great cultivator, he just start to finish, 10 months had his first harvest.
Fully streamlined.
That's awesome.
Meanwhile, we were waiting for years, basically. Right. And so we just, but either way, we made it happen through the hustle, and just over the course of those years, we first opened up the grow, and then we opened up the retail store in summer of last year, and it was just blood, sweat, and tears to get it open, and just you got to maintain your life, but then still put everything into like getting this, but still make sure that you're maintaining your bills and doing what you got to do to like keep your family above board, and so it was just a really just a hellacious struggle for 3-4 years, with the cidery and with the dogs, it's just go. That's and now we're open, and we're to that point where things are kind of sailing smooth. I have an amazing team over there. It starts at top and just goes all the way through. The GM over there, Chris, is just amazing. Like,
man, I can't speak better of
made
Chris,
my
man.
life made my life
dude.
so easy, man, because just made my life a lot easier than it would be without a guy like that, because he came into the game from Fairbanks, having opened, I believe our store was the 6th that he had opened. So going into it, he was kind of nonchalant about it and kind of had me worried. And I'm like, man, my whole life is on the line here. Yeah. Like, are you sure? And I'm trying to, and in general, like, I'm a guy that does everything for people around me. So I'm used to like micromanaging and like, kind of like, all right, if I don't do it, it's not going to be done right kind of thing. So I kind of have that attitude, and I had to learn to like step back and let
Delegate.
things, just let
Trust
things be
people.
what they were. And it took like, up until opening the store, I was kind of like nervous because he was kind of nonchalant about it. And then when I saw how he got down in the first week, I knew like everything I did try to come at him, like, hey, what about this? He's like, oh yeah, I already did that. I already called that. He was already on it. So I just kind of learned to like, okay, I'm gonna, my main thing is, as long as we're driving in the right direction, I don't need to be controlling every turn.
Yeah, I always call
good
that
analogy.
trust,
Right?
but verify.
Yeah. So like I'm gonna give you the car. I'm gonna, you have the experience in this. You let, and I learned from him. Like, and I think what I bring is a lifetime of involvement in the culture. So I think that comes across in the store with how we treat people, with the product that we sell, with the way it looks, with the experience there, all the little details that are going to come with a lifetime of being involved in that. And then at the same time, like trusting your team to do what they're supposed to do, and not trying to get him, tell them every little thing to do.
No micromanaging.
Yeah. No. And so, yeah, it's been amazing. We just had the 420 and coming up on a year in business, and it's just been great. Like I'm still like in awe that like, I'm like selling weed on Boniface, where I used to live on Camelot Drive right around there, and I used to catch the bus to Clark from that parking lot, and I would like steal candy from the store and like
the gas station on the
sell it out of my
there,
locker at Clark. Like I used to, like this full circle.
Oh, you had a candy store like
oh, I had a candy store, dude. I had the candy store with the bubble gum at the locker, everything. Like been hustling.
Yo, Boots has got the bubblicious.
Yeah. So like just to come full circle and like be over there on Boniface with Chuck, where it all started with Chris, and it's this amazing like story. I still can't even like imagine that it's like real.
It was meant to be, Josh.
Yeah.
It was meant to
It definitely
be right
was,
there,
And shout out to my partner, Municipality of Anchorage. I take them taxes every month, and it's amazing.
Right, man.
Yeah, it's still weird to like think about like, oh yeah, now we're partners now, and I bring the big bag down there every month. And they're like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
And we're all happy about it.
We're all happy about
Yeah,
it. So
man.
as it should be. I mean, it's great.
Yeah, you're investing in where we live, bro.
Yeah.
That's
So
it.
I have a few kind of like more like technical questions for you.
Yeah.
So, I have this 11-year-old lab. I think half of Anchorage knows Brooks Ranger, and she's a damn good dog, really good bird hunter, but, she's getting older.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've been hearing a lot of, CBD kind of benefits.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for me?
I just think the CBD is just it's something that's a well documented medicinal effect to take CBD. I've personally experienced it when you smoke a CBD strain or you eat a CBD edible. You can feel it in your body versus it's not like a mental high. It's, I've had some concentrates that was heavily sided on the CBD side, not so much on the THC, and you can completely almost like feel it hit your body where you just feel a relaxation. In my experience, I don't know how long some of that stuff lasts. In my experience, like the topical rubs and stuff like that, they work for a little bit, but you kind of need to reapply it. But Good Cannabis, for instance, just came out with a patch that that Chris has, some back pain or whatever, and he said that he puts that on there, and it's just amazing, like the way that it
Really?
Yeah, and I'm not sure if that one is actually THC or CBD, but either way, it's those type of the CBD in general is just, it definitely helps with the dog's joints. I know your dog got some
you should put
benefits
your
from
dog
it.
on. Your dog's not on it yet?
My dog's still good. My dog is 11 years old, but she's
Dang, Boo's that old now?
yeah, big Boo.
Yeah, big
Holy
one. No,
smokes.
it did a wonder from Remy.
Yeah.
Man, it did, dude.
Yeah.
It turned like into a puppy, dude. We got at
She was
least another
falling
year
apart,
of life.
dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got at least another year out of her.
Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's good stuff. I personally, I haven't taken a ton of it, and I can't speak, too far into it, but I think I know it helps. I know it helps people for sure.
Right, with the inflammation.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder which product. I mean, it would be like a drip. I've given her some before where, you drop a few drops in her food every morning, but what would be best?
Yeah. I wouldn't, what I would defer to that is our staff over there. They're amazing, and they're doing it every day.
Right.
They're in there every day, and they would be the best people to tell you like specifically what product would be best
Right.
for you. I'm not the best guy for that. So
Yeah.
shout out to the team is awesome over there, and they're just like super good on everything. So if you go in there anytime, someone's going to know what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Jack, do we got a trivia?
Yeah,
today?
we have some good trivia, and
Because I'm just gonna say, Josh has been talking a lot of
talking
shit.
a lot of shit, boys. There
Recently.
hasn't been one trivia question. I think we should do who can
I got pretty
who
close
can
on a
Google it the
couple of
fastest.
those.
yeah, I did hear you bring that up at the cidery.
Instead of
Just
who
mimosa
knows,
it out?
yeah, because it's a lot of
You guys don't know
East Siders over here.
shit.
And as a little history, I know we brought up Mr. Moore before, and I remembered his name is Dave Moore.
Dave Moore.
Josh
With the cone.
was at UAA. Shout out to the Seawolves. Shout out to our merch.
Dude,
If you're
Talk about SeaWorld.
listen.
Ugh, that's nasty.
Listen, go to AlaskaWildProject.com. We have really pretty sweet looking hoodies.
Seawolves look colors right there.
Oh yeah,
We're
That green
repping
and
the
gold.
Seawolves. Coming
We're ready
from
to
the
play.
True Gash. We're ready to play.
All right, so we're gonna start this off. We're gonna rock some trivia. So since Josh is here, and I heard some flack, I definitely didn't throw any softballs, and I think it's good to have like a little humbling experience.
Yeah.
I learned a lot from these questions too. But since you guys are Seawolves guys, what was the first year Seawolves played hockey in the NCAA as Division I?
1956.
91.
And so is it closest wins?
Closest? We usually go closest
go
without going over, but for a year guess, I
Well, you
think
can't
just
go over.
closest. Yeah, you can go over on this.
Okay, well,
thought it was
if
Bob
that's the
Barker.
case, closest, I know that it was after.
What'd
It
you
was
say?
after I was a
Time
kid.
out.
I'm gonna go
1956.
92.
You guys didn't even take me serious. I said
56.
1956.
Yeah, you're way off with that.
I said
I'm gonna go
91.
92.
You
so
guys,
I'm
we
over
were
him.
at Solon Arena probably all together before 92 watching.
Well,
these
you said
games.
Division One. Are you talking
Yeah,
about
Division,
said Division
One
One, though.
hockey Seawolves.
Oh, you're talking about the days with like Keith Street and Dean Larson and those guys.
I might have
They were
messed up.
D1 then,
'cause I'm
too.
thinking
Wow,
So-
Bill Cody. I didn't
so-
know they were. I'm thinking of that division that they were in for the last 20 years.
So that's when they moved from being an independent. So they were like how
Okay.
Notre Dame was in football forever.
Oh, see,
UAA
that
was
so
one
1957,
of the. I
and
think
that's
there
what I'm
was
talking
three.
about. I think there was.
So
like,
it
And
was
then they
probably
moved
like
to what was it? The
WCHA.
WCHA.
Yeah.
And they moved to that. And
That was in the 90s, right? Yeah. Okay, that's what I was thinking. So it's
There's
probably
a picture
All right.
of UAA and UAF playing at Seward's Folly over here off Abbott in the men's room or in the hallway to the men's room. And I got a picture of it. I want to look it up on my phone.
I want to play the UA Seawolf song.
Oh, you should.
Let me look it up.
Well, those
You
were
should.
those were the club days.
But
so
that's what I'm saying. Like you talk about,
So
had to be
it's
the
a
80s
different
then.
time.
it's
probably.
1979.
Damn, 79.
79.
Wow.
Did you guys even guess anything?
Yeah, we said
Yeah,
91.
And
I
this
guess
is-
92.
And this is like also a mini shout out to the, Save
So
UAA,
you
Save
can't
Seawolves,
go over,
because we need college hockey here. And a lot of
Oh,
people
dude.
have been putting out a lot of hard work. A lot of businesses are donating to raise funds.
Yeah.
And they got us through this next year, and they're still trying to raise funds. So anyone out there that loves college hockey and wants to support local hockey, get out there, contact the Go Seawolves people, and you can go contact them on Facebook and show your support. See what their next event it is. Donate some money.
Damn, found it.
What's up, Waldrop?
Yeah.
What's up, Dean Larson?
What's up, Justin Johnson?
JJ.
The boys.
There's something about the Seawolves.
Something about the Seawolves.
We are the Seawolves and we're ready to play.
Woo! Shout out to the
jam.
producer.
Shit,
Boys.
damn, that almost kind of gave me chills, bro. Like being like a 10-year-old kid, just
Yeah, no, that was
going to the
amazing.
Sully and watching
Just
those
Yeah,
games.
when they used to have cheerleaders.
Oh, man.
They did,
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
they?
Oh yeah, me and
Damn,
Pops were out
man.
standing on the wall looking at
I'll
this.
just never
cheerleader.
forget that. They had Key Street, like Darren Donald.
Derek Donald.
Derek Donald, my bad. Wild Bill Cody, Dean Larson,
Bogovich.
Bogovich. Those guys that just killed the
They were
best
so
league to this
nasty,
day.
dude.
And shout out
The
to
Beathard
Kinger, the
brothers.
goalie from
Chris
the EA.
King. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Chris King. And then they came. And then in our era, they had like JJ Johnson. They had Matt Shasby. Who were some other local boys that went there?
Waldrop,
Waldrop, Merritt Waldrop,
Ryan Young.
Ryan Young.
Yeah.
Man, just
Brad
amazing.
Brad Gorham.
man,
That
I
was
know we're
just-
missing some. We'll see
The
them after.
Beathard.
Like you
Ton of
didn't
them.
mention me.
Yeah, but what an environment that was. God, that was amazing.
So I got this picture. 1936 championship game, University of Alaska versus University of Fairbanks Ice Carnival.
36.
1936. These dudes are on.
Oh, we'll definitely put that up on the YouTube.
Yeah.
Send that to me.
I will. I mean, I when I saw this, I was like, that's fake. Like,
Send
what
it to
the
me right
fuck?
now so we put it up on the TV.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's amazing.
It's
Just airdrop it to me.
it's in progress. I couldn't believe it. I was like, 1936. Like this, it's horse and carriage times, dude. Like
Yeah.
what? That's throwback in Alaska. There was nothing in Alaska. Like how
Yeah,
did
that's crazy.
what these dudes do to get there? Like how'd they even travel? I mean, I know there's automobiles back then, but in Alaska, the roads weren't just some like highways.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's crazy just
Look
thinking
at the
about
picture.
whole,
Look at the picture.
bro.
Look at the crowd, dude.
1936, man. That's like 40 years after the Western days.
just thinking about
man.
the whole
Like,
building of Alaska in those days, like with no
I
gear, no
mean-
nothing. Like, yeah, we're going that way down that valley. Like, how did
Hence-
they end up?
hence
like,
my heinous
know what I
ass
mean?
like
People
time.
didn't.
I
like
threw
just
out.
think about that. Like, how do you end up in Anchorage? Like, you know, when you think about when you're out there now and you're looking at your maps and you have all your gear and you're this and that and you can push a button, a helicopter. These guys are
punching the railroad to
these
Seward,
guys are
dude.
punching a railroad through nowhere to
Yeah.
nowhere, and
Yeah.
you know, I don't know. It's amazing.
I know it's like
Still
how did that
baffles
even
me when I
happen?
go out there and I even see all these trails that are out there. Like,
Oh, yeah.
where do these trails come from? They
Yeah,
they
mines.
go forever.
Yeah.
They go forever. Like when we're in Butte Creek Trail and looking down. Remember when we went where your daughter
yeah,
shot the
it
caribou?
just goes
It
endlessly.
just goes
for,
forever.
Yeah.
And it's like, how did this get here?
It's like
Yeah.
the
It's a
town
beaten
of
road.
Chisana in the middle of Wrangell St. Elias
Wrangell's,
Park. At one time, that was the biggest town in the state.
Wow.
It's a ghost town now. You have to fly in an airplane.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was a mining mecca. Like
crazy.
I think there's over 10,000 people there.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So much out. It's so expansive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, oh yeah, it's just endless.
Yeah.
All right, we're going for the second question.
Well, who won that?
You did.
Yeah.
No, Daniel did. I'm sorry.
Wait, what'd you say?
Oh, without going
No,
over?
Oh, without going
we went
over?
over.
He said you can go over on this one, right?
What did you guess? 56.
57.
And
He was
you-
over.
I guess 91.
91. And what did you
I guess 92.
Yeah, 92.
And what was it?
I think Daniel won because you said you can go over. on this one.
79. And I said
Oh,
I'd
yeah,
go over.
okay.
So
All right,
Daniel
that's
won
cool.
that
So
one.
79.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys were just so far away that I didn't think
Super
that
far.
counted.
Yeah, no.
I kind of got my head was on Division 1 WCHA. That's what
Right.
I-
Yeah. It tricked you a little bit.
I didn't think about that they were actually independent 1AA is what it was, right?
They
weren't 1A.
Yeah, they were. Division 1, yeah.
And all
it
those-
was
and
one of the
Division
big
1A when they were independent.
Yeah, so they may have been at some point double A, but I know that from 79 to whenever
On,
they
it was-
yeah,
oh, okay.
they were D1 independent, and I think like a lot of people think that was the downfall.
I do because
Oh.
it's
You were too proud, huh?
Well, no, it's
Like-
just you can't compete with like if you're trying to recruit a kid and you're competing against like Denver or somebody,
Colorado State.
Colorado College or
Yeah,
somebody that's
yeah.
in a market like that, and the stadium's packed, and then the team's competitive, and you're basically it's hard to compete to come to Alaska and play in this market, and it's a tough sell for to get a top kid. So it's
That's
hard
right.
to get the top kids to stay competitive
And
in the long run.
in the league that you join, they don't see it as a benefit of you being here. Because suddenly they have to fly
It costs a
up all
lot
the
of money.
time.
Right.
The lure's gone.
Right.
But if you're independent, you can continue to battle these teams, and it's exciting now for Michigan to come up and play.
Once in
or
a while.
Yeah.
Minnesota instead of being in their division, and it's weighing down the cost of all the teams to fly here.
Hey,
Right.
shout out to the St. Mary's boys. The fucking boys over there hit us up with the boat question. St. Mary's.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
we did get. a
Maybe they
good
should
question.
transfer to the fucking boys over here. Come D1, baby. Woo!
So if you come, we're gonna bait you in. We're gonna take you
right.
bow hunting if you come play at
Yeah. Come to
University of
UA.
Alaska.
We'll get you a
Well,
moose.
what was so badass was that those dudes all ended up becoming aces, dude.
Yeah.
Like, they kept it like real. They made their run. They tried to go pro. They were all like right on that edge, right? The streets and the
Well, some of them, yeah. A lot of, everyone has a different hockey story, but yeah, there's
Yeah.
definitely some guys that touched.
seemed like they were
touched a
all
high
on the
level.
edge. Yeah.
Yeah.
But when they came back home and then they played in front of us,
Yeah.
they were as nasty as anything you've ever seen.
Yeah.
The
You
first
know?
one was that played for UAA that was like big was Mike Peluso. You guys remember
Oh,
that?
Oh yeah.
When he went to the New Jersey
Yep.
Devils, like even though he wasn't from Alaska, it was like one of the Alaska boys made it,
Yeah.
But to
Yeah.
me, to this day, the one that touches my soul is Justin Johnson.
Oh,
He
JJ.
that's just the best story ever. JJ, all the years I was on the grind, I'd be driving down the street and I see JJ on his rollerblade, just the hardest working man in show business, dude. Just
On the coastal trail with the broom.
just doing it. And when he knocked
With the
out,
Walkman?
when he knocked that guy out, what was the guy?
Singing
Mike
you.
Scott.
Yeah, Scott.
Dude, when he knocked out Mike Scott, you remember we were coming home from
Bro,
Homer, right?
That's right.
We're coming home from Homer. We're at the Tesoro getting the breakfast, just doing some fat boy
Oh, we were
moves.
on the tournament.
Yeah, we're coming
at
home
the
from
Kevin
Homer.
Bell.
Yeah.
We're getting the breakfast sausage at the Tesoro in
The
Sterling.
one right at the bottom of
The one at Sterling that has the
yeah.
ice cream cones and all
Yeah.
that.
The last,
and man,
like,
we
stop.
watched that thing and it was just like when he did that, it was like we all won.
Yeah,
Like
totally.
like all the East Siders won that day. Like he did that shit for. And you think about the same thing when
What happened?
well, just the same thing like when Scott won the Stanley Cup at like straight out of high school.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we grew up together. Like we could all see Scott's mission, all the work, all the skates, all the leaving early, all that shit that went into that.
Yeah.
So you just have an
5 a.m.
emotional attachment to that. Same with JJ. Like when JJ,
It's right 1-1 with
it's
me.
right to me too. Like when JJ did that, because it's almost better because it was like the guy that it was like the
The guy that had to grind, the guy that
The guy
wasn't
that had
like
to work
the
for
light wasn't
everything.
shown on him the whole time.
everything
Yeah.
was harder.
Yeah.
Like he put in the most work. I literally remember just seeing JJ on Tudor and Boniface 1,000 times on his rollerblades, and I'd be been in the corner doing what I'm doing, and he's riding his rollerblades, and he was never smoking. He was never, wasn't partying too hard. He was just working.
Yeah.
And he went in he was in the ECHL and this league and that league, and then at 32 he finally gets his shot. you know, and he knocks out this gigantor.
Yeah,
like
and
this
he
guy
called it. He called it
dude.
that summer. He was like, "Hey, if I ever get a chance, I'm gonna call him.
I'm gonna
out."
do it.
And
Yeah.
he was talking about doing it in like training camp, but
Yeah.
then actually did it in
a
his,
game.
what, third NHL game
Yeah,
for the.
We'll get JJ on
Islanders.
here. We'll
Yeah,
get JJ
that's
on here
That'd
to
be
come.
so sick.
yeah.
Come
He's
hoot
the
and holler a
he's
little
the
bit.
sickest coach too.
Well, we ran into him in Homer at the thing. He was at dinner with us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
such a great guy.
At
But
the
that
Derby?
knockout though,
Yeah,
like
AJ's.
just
Oh,
seeing the
I
way
love
he like,
AJ's.
you know, he looks so small compared to that guy.
Oh yeah,
And he just boom that guy. I knew that guy
he's
was
done.
knocked out the one before that, and then he binged him. Oh my
It kind
God.
of makes you realize how big John Scott is, because when
Right.
JJ
When-
puts his hand on your shoulder at the dinner table, you're like, oh, this
That's
guy
like
could
a
probably
Mike-
just
it's
cripple
JJ
me.
and
Yeah,
Mike
yeah.
Lee,
If he
like-
squeezes any harder, dude, I might just be
Yeah.
paralyzed.
Yeah. You don't want to run into those guys on the wrong side of F Street.
No.
I got some stories of JJ S Street. We will save that
we won't
for
say
after.
that.
And not
All
to
right.
take anything away from Scott, like he was just pure talent, dude. He was just
That's
gifted.
a whole nother
gifted,
amazing-
So that's what I'm saying. He's a gifted human being
Oh,
on
yeah.
this planet that was like meant to go to the NHL at 18 years old and win the cup. Like he was just that
he
good
did,
at it.
yeah, dude. Like,
But
he would-
JJ's shit was just a different like.
Scott would
he-
touch the puck in high school,
Yeah.
and both sides of the crowd would stand up. Like it didn't matter. It didn't matter if you were from service or whenever he would touch the puck. I mean, he scored like I don't even know, like
Yeah, it was
106
crazy.
points in like 30 games. Like
Yeah.
it's retarded.
and then he brings it back to Alaska. Look at the Scotty Gomez Foundation.
Yeah.
Like no one
Oh,
else is
no,
doing
yeah.
that.
He has
stuff.
the
It's-
of all the guys though. You know, so like a couple years ago, I gave him a ride home from F Street and shit, and and I'm talking.
Bootsy, take me home.
Yeah, well, you know, we grew up together. We're boys, right? Like, so I'm telling him about my daughter. Oh yeah, she played for Shay. He, you know, he don't want to hear shit. He's just like,
Nah,
whatever.
yeah.
Bring her to me. I'll coach her up. Whatever, you know. And then the one thing he said, and he's like, "Did I keep it East Side?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah, you kept it East Side." You know, like that's
Always.
that's the important thing is that like he's all. If you look at his interviews, everything, he always represented for Alaska, which, you know, he has the title with that. Like to this day, like everywhere he went, it was Anchorage, it was my boys. The way that we would do it, you know, he never changed. He's never
Nope.
been different.
Never
Still
diverted.
owns the same house. Like,
Yeah, he's over there connecting.
come on, man.
Is it his parents' place too?
Yeah, he bought his parents' place.
He
house,
bought
yeah.
the place he grew up in. He lives
Yeah,
over there.
and
We'll
that's
get
where he
Scott
has
in
that.
here. We'll get Scott in here. What people don't know is me and Scott grew up as little kids. His mom's Colombian and my parents are Colombian. It was a thing.
Yeah.
And we used to just be together when we were before hockey, like when we
Yeah.
were little.
Yeah.
So we'll get Scott in here and tell some crazy, some crazy
JJ
stories.
too, man. That guy, he's a ball of fire, bro.
Oh, yeah.
You go to the rink, man.
Watch
and,
him coaching
Oh,
5-year-olds.
I mean, dude. Every kid that runs up to this guy,
Hit him.
hugs him.
Oh, they love
They,
him.
they hug him. They hug him.
love
He
him.
hugs them. I mean, he is like genuinely entrenched in like he was at the highest level,
Yeah.
but these kids.
But still so humble.
Oh man,
So humble,
Like,
the best.
I can tell his place in this world was there. Was like
100%.
you know that's where he and the big smile and I
Oh,
don't know him well. I'm a hockey dad. I just observe.
Just seen him around the
Yeah,
rink.
and I'm like his energy is like it's something
the
that
best,
yeah,
yeah.
you just
My daughters, he always looked out for my daughter and Nisa. He always, for Jace, you know, just take him to the camps and they, you know, he's just always watching out. Wow, he's thinking my daughter's going to like punk out or something. And, you know,
Well, let's speak about your daughter. I mean, for people that don't know, Anissa Boots plays for Bell Tire, which is one of the top, in my opinion, top 3, not only men's, but women's.
well, it's women's. Oh, yeah, but they play both.
But they play both in the nation. Just a bad ass hockey player, born and raised in Anchorage, from coaches in Anchorage, who's now just doing her thing. It's almost equivalent to the juniors deal, would you say?
No, it's more like just playing on like a comp team. But
She's still young for that, right?
somewhere else.
Is
yeah.
there a juniors for women?
No, there's no junior, so you just basically go to college after high school, and that's what it's all about for women. So it's more like playing for a comp team somewhere else. That the whole thing of it is just getting competition, because up here, you know, if your kid is talented, they're going to play on a comp team, and they're going to have to travel out of state to get consistent competition. And when you know, so that's the reason why a lot of kids leave, because a parent might have to put their kids on 5 trips to do 30 games competitively up here versus when your kid leaves state, you know, they're playing 70 games and every weekend it's competitive down there.
Game in and game out.
Instead of flying and doing all these thousands of dollar trips, they're driving from Detroit to Toronto or Detroit to Chicago or to Philly, or I mean to Pittsburgh or wherever. You know, they're taking these road trips and it's much easier. So that's really the advantage of getting them out of there. You know, and there's a ton of good teams, and it's just about getting out there and competing at a high level. Yeah. So,
and shout out to the hockey parents, man. That's such a grind, dude. You give up like every single weekend, and the moms, the hockey moms, just out there 6 a.m. at Dempsey, Boki, doing the thing for the grind. Gig. It's a full-time gig.
And you know what? As a hockey parent, it's kind of like I did it for 12 years plus, because all my big thing was that all my kids are going to play some sport, at least 2 sports a year, and they're going to be involved in team sports, because I feel like team sports are kind of what you learn a lot of life lessons in team sports, like how to win, how to lose, how to work with other people, how to take criticism, how to communicate. Yeah. There's 1,000 things you learn. And so I was just always big on like, you have to do something. So I put my kids in hockey, football, soccer, tang sudo, like
whatever they want to do,
right? Gymnast, whatever, what basketball, everything. As long as, so I spent like 12 years just driving after work every day. Going to 2 and 3 practices. I'm like the van that, you know, the taxi that picks everybody up.
You got a nice taxi now.
Right. I got a new one. Yeah. Shout out to the boys over there at Lithia.
Yeah. The CEO truck now.
Yes, sir. But you know, when you get done with that, you're kind of like now I'm in this space. It's kind of weird because all my friends have young kids, and my wife and I started early. So our kids we're like, you know, ready to go. We're like on a whole different level. And you guys all have like young kids. You're out ice fishing. We're like, we don't want it.
Your ocean boat.
We're trying to go to Vegas. Yeah, we're trying to go to the ocean boat. We're trying to, you know, so
we're here at the long.
But you go through this like 15 years of doing all that, and then now you have nothing. And I'm like, hey, I'm calling my buddy Justin. Hey, what time's your kids' game? Like,
come check them out.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna come watch it, because you missed that, like watching the game, you know. So for me, the funnest thing about like my daughter playing somewhere else is that my wife and I get to take trips and go watch, you know, like she's not going, but I'm going to Philly on Tuesday to go watch the Nationals, you know. And so I like live for these trips of like going to Detroit this weekend, or we're going to Minnesota next weekend, or we're going to, you know, Pittsburgh, and we're going to watch. And every time we go, we get to watch an NHL game, or that's part of it, like the basketball game or the NHL game or whatever. Yeah. And, you know, so thankfully, like things are coming back open, and we're like, even though we've gone to games recently and it's not the same experience, because you know, the biggest part is like the fans, and getting crunk with the, you know, so I'm the only guy with 17 beers in there, you know, whatever. But hey, you know,
keeping it EA.
Yeah, keeping it EA, but so it's a little bit different, but eventually it's starting to come back. But that's the whole fun part of it, is like going on the trip, watching your kid, like watching the game. It's amazing, man. It's such a blessing. And like, because of her being good at hockey, our whole family's got to like do cool trips all over the place, like Canada and West Coast and all over the country, really. Like, dude, Matt Shasby had those kids on a mission from the time they were like they would go to Minnesota in the summer, and they'd be like, do a 2-week trip, and he's like, well, we're not going for 5 days because it costs too much money. We got to make this count, right? So we'd go down there, and they'd have like a dry land, a practice, and 2 games, like every day.
Wow.
Yeah.
It just hurts my knee.
Yeah, so he definitely ran them ragged, but those kids like became like, I think of that team that she was on, I think like 7 of the 15 are playing hockey out of Alaska by the age of 14. You know, a couple guys in the WCHL, one guy in the USHL, her out there. And it's funny because they all got to 3 of the kids are playing in Michigan, and they got to reunite a couple weekends ago when the boys were at state, and Nisa was able to, the mom came and picked her up, and she got to go to the game. Yeah. And so
shout out to my babysitter, Anissa.
Anissa,
yeah.
Good babysitter.
My
And
boys
Anna-
get,
Anna-
my,
Anna at
and
the
my
hot
boy's
dog
getting
stand.
watched by national hockey players here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
And
gets them outside.
I think a couple of my kids have worked at the dog stand. Anna
Yeah,
was
I think all the kids work.
Anna was a
dog
mainstay
stand.
at the hot dog stand.
Show them how
killing
to
it.
listen.
Yeah. We keep it in the family,
Yeah.
you know.
That's great.
You were talking about Shasby, dude. This guy, Anissa's 12U team takes on a 14U team, smashes them like 12-2, and then runs these kids into the ice for like 45 minutes on, was it crushers? You guys call it?
Oh.
Or
Oh yeah, he wasn't happy with something. Pulled him.
yeah, I was like, dude, they're like sixth graders.
That was a game you went to?
Yeah, it was. You know, I used to go to a game, you know, once a month, and
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
I remember just going to the rink and I'm like, man, they just handled these. They're like little 12-year-olds and 12 and 14-year-old gap is a big gap.
Yeah.
In size of children.
Yeah.
You know, we talked like 2-year-old gaps in kids is like a big ass gap.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, I was like, damn, okay. Like, not judging. I mean, I came from all of us have played sports in the 90s. We all come in
That's
the
how we
early
grew up.
2000s. Yeah,
Yeah.
you had coaches that just, you know, you're puking
yeah.
in trash
They go hard.
cans. It was, today it might be a little different. You know, there's a lot of sensitive folks out there. But I saw that and I was like, okay.
Let the coach do his job.
he's
Listen, parents be
breeding-
quiet. Just
he's
sit on the
breeding-
sideline
Speaking
and
of
let the
that,
coach
yeah.
do his
Speaking
job.
of that,
You
the
know?
best thing I'll say about Matt Shasby is, aside from him being an amazing coach and putting that team together and running them since they were, 10 years old to 14. I mean, he had those kids lined up, right? But I remember the first meeting when we first. So the way it worked actually was related to JJ. I was helping JJ find his first house, and I had went to Ben Boki. I went to the wrong practice, and I go in there and it's like Brian Bethard and Matt Shasby and like Derek Donald and like Cernovich and like these five. Like I knew all these coaches were like UAA players, and I'm like, my daughter was with this awesome coach Greg Plett at the Moose, and he was a dad, and he was amazing because he was such a high energy guy, and he got the love going for the sport. But he's gonna only take it so far. I go to this practice and I'm like, and with her, like all my kids skated, and you could already see when she was 4 years old, like, oh, there's something there, right?
Yeah.
So I go to this practice and I'm like, damn, this is the team that I need to get my daughter on, these guys, right? So fast forward that summer, I'm selling a house to JJ, helping him get his house. And I'm like, hey, I want to, what's up with Matt Shasby's team? Like, I need to get my daughter on that. And he's like, oh, let me call him right now. So he calls him up and he's like, yeah, Boots wants to get his daughter. And Shasby like already is like, oh yeah, she's my number one recruit. Like, what's up? Like he already knew her.
scouted.
She was,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, she's 7, whatever. So we get on the team, whatever. We're on the All-Stars the first year. And, me being me, I'm like, I was always like a good kid, like good at hockey, but I never played comp. So like I made varsity at East when I was in 10th grade, and was Gomez and Kern and all these guys. And the coach Larky is like, double reverse bump. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm lost, right?
Like
The only thing I could do is
Coach Wilkie didn't teach us
yeah,
this.
like all I could do is check people, so that's what I'm there for, right? So like,
You're the John Scott.
yeah, like I'm checking people. So
He's just gonna beat you up real fast.
yeah, so like for her to be on the All Stars, I was like, oh shit, I'm going to get the suit, the pants, because when we were kids, like the All Stars.
Oh, the All Stars were the shit.
Yeah, so I got her. I remember when I got her the first suit and the track. It was like I won, Like,
Yeah.
My daughter's like on this shit. I bought her the red tacklers with the. You already know.
You're
the
like,
whole,
I'm authentic now.
the whole fit,
yeah.
everything, right?
You
So
had
then-
the track suit, dude?
Yeah. So then, yeah.
Just matching
No, I didn't go that.
with
you
the
know.
dreads.
But I wanted to. So the next year, after she gets fully kitted, Shasby's like, yeah, I'm going to North Stars. Whoever wants to come with me.
Oh, shit.
And I'm like,
Red to blue,
fuck,
red
what
to
the
blue.
hell?
I
So
gotta find some more money.
yeah, so we had to make a decision, and like of the kids that were on that team, only 3 kids went over with Shasby. It was like best choice we made, right? Because so anyway, fast forward, we go to the team meeting, and this is like squirts, and they're like, he's got a really good group of kid, but he's gonna move them up so that they can be more challenged.
Squirts is like eight years old.
Yeah,
10.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, goes to the parent meeting, and he's like, I'm just going to let you know right now, like, they're going to get their ass kicked pretty much all year. And, you know, it's going to suck, but they're going to be challenged. And he basically is just a no-nonsense guy. He's like, you know, they're going to get their ass kicked. It's going to be a challenge, and none of your kids are going to the NHL, so save the drama, basically. He's just like...
Oh, good for him.
You know how hockey is like, you know, it's so like political and all this drama.
Up and
and
down.
Dude.
Calm down, hockey.
This guy
mom.
doesn't like that
Dude,
guy.
I'm
And it's
telling
just,
you.
you know, we don't do all that. So my wife, we're sitting in there and we're just like, fuck yeah, we love this. Like, he's like, yeah, you know, your kid's not going to the NHL. And basically, like, your only job here is to like drop your kid off at the rink on time and pick them up on time and let me do the rest. And I was just like, done.
Sign me up.
So, like, you know how guys, like, you have a daughter, like, guys
Yeah.
are, dude, I was dropping my daughter off at the rink at, like, 7 and,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, once he's, or, you know, I was, like, 8 years old. Like, once he said that, I was like, cool, you could tie your own skates, right? Like, we're figuring this out, and I'm dropping her off, like, early. I don't go in. I don't carry the bag for her. I don't do none of that, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, that was Matt Shasby in a nutshell. He was just like, let me do what I do. You guys do what you do, which is like pay the bill and drop your kid off, and then the rest is, and you know, the proof is in the pudding. Like, those kids,
The proof is in the hoodie.
In
It's
the
blue,
hoodie.
it's blue and it's
Blue and
green and
gold.
gold.
yeah. So yeah, that was
Ready to play.
that was a
Should I
Great
play
move.
the song again?
All right, we're gonna finish
Put
off
that on
some
a button.
trivia here,
Yeah, let's go
boys.
with the
Oh, we
trivia.
were.
gonna finish
Yeah.
off
40,
trivia.
46 minutes later.
All right. So, question 2: Seawolves. What is the name's origin? What's it mean?
Man, I saw a boat out in Homer named the Seawolf. I was like, yeah. Bad.
Was it the
That's
one?
a
Was it my
damn
neighbor?
good name.
That was a really good name.
And if you know the answer to this question, it's a really.
I've got a neighbor like right down the street.
The
His
origin of the
his
Seawolf.
boat is badged up with the Seawolf badge.
Oh, let me just give a quick thing. We are trying to name Jack's boat from the Double Shovel. Listen, if you have a name, we have a bunch of bad names
We
lined
have
up.
2 pretty good ones.
We have two pretty good ones. One is the Caribou Call,
the
which
Caribou
is
Call
very,
is legit.
that's
it's very good.
That's a good
It's
one.
very good.
And the
But
other one is the Insider.
the insider was cider as in CIDER
Right.
cider.
Oh,
the
that's
insider.
really good.
I
'Cause we
said
would
double
love-
penetration, but it didn't get a lot of steam.
The DP did not.
You
Yeah.
said what?
Yeah.
Yeah, that might
Yeah,
rub
that
people the
doesn't.
wrong way.
Wait. I want 2 holes in my boat. Come on.
Hey,
I got
hey.
5 in the back at the plug
Is
every
it-
time. You know?
Does it have 2 plugs or 1?
5?
5 plugs.
5 plugs, so it's 5.
Is that a
5
Woolridge thing? I mean, what is going on with
It's a
that?
hand job.
Oh, okay.
Are you making
the old
fun of
rub
my
and
boat?
tug?
So we're looking for a name. We're looking for a name for Jack's boat.
Yeah.
Listen,
You know-
if you
you
got
know
something
what-
cool,
We'd love a play like some play on Double Shovel or cider, but if it's something different, we're
Yeah.
good
You know
with
what
that too.
stung the nostrils last week?
what?
Was Friday? Was it Friday? You guys went down to Homer?
When we
right?
FaceTimed, you need an answer?
Oh, you guys FaceTime me?
No.
When was that?
On the water.
No.
We wanted to include you.
Was it like 7:57 in the morning, and I dropped that net off, and the boat's just sitting there, and Daniel's sitting there, and I'm like, damn, Jack's boat's pretty sick.
Oh, thanks.
Dude, that boat is sick.
It needs a name,
I
man.
was like,
appreciate it.
dang.
The Woolworth needs a
I was
name,
like,
dude.
Woolridge.
Woolridge.
And I was like-
I always say Woolworth.
I was like,
Why?
man, I want to go. But I can't
Well, we
go.
wanted you to go.
No, I know.
Woolridge.
Next
So-
little Carl.
Hey, this was the no fish year, so come next year there'll be lots of fish.
the first person to call me was Jack. Post Derby. For the record, fuckers. Thanks, Jack.
Well, dude, I texted you at like 9:07.
No. I got the text.
Yeah.
Oh, call.
That's great, but I got a call.
What about the first guy to leg wrestle you?
Let's see it right
You
now.
ready, bud?
So, do we have an answer to this?
Well,
yeah.
no one tried
Seawolf.
to.
ready,
Anyway,
bud?
This is the delay tactic here.
Seawolf.
So name
That's
my
a good
boat.
one.
Send us some names. You guys answer some questions. All right.
Listen, if you have the winning name of the boat, dude, you're going to get a hoodie.
They should get
You
a
will
full
get
gift.
a-
You'll get a UAA green and gold
Yeah.
hoodie.
Full
Yep.
pack.
If
Yep.
you come up with the winning name, you get the hoodie.
Yeah, sticker, hat, beanie.
The whole
You get
the
it.
whole kit and caboodle.
Seawolf's
Yep.
name origin.
No clue.
Like, wait, hold on. The premise of this question is like, who is the man that like threw it out there?
What's
like,
the sea
what's the
wolf
story?
name mean?
what does it mean? Okay.
What's the origin? How'd it come about?
I want to say it's Russian.
I'm feeling
That's
like
just
Alaska
my,
Native
I want to say it's
culture.
Russian. I want to say it's a Russian boat, a Russian whaler, a Russian ship, a Russian influence of some sort
You're
that
going with that?
that had to maybe a captain, maybe something that they were pillaging.
Is it like a
Alaska
sea
Sounds
lion?
like you're
waters.
rapping in Spanish right now.
Is it like you're trying to come up
Toda
with
la
like a
gente en la
pirate?
casa.
I've heard this around the fire and rap out.
It's like a pirate. You think it's like a pirate type thing?
Yeah, I want to say it's the name of a Russian pirate boat.
Okay, that's
nasty.
Daniels.
That's my
All right.
guess.
I feel like it's like a sea lion. I mean, that sounds kind of
Oh, like a certain breed or certain.
yeah. Like a sea lion's a pretty vicious critter. A lot of people think like, oh, sea lion, they have this cute face, and I'm like, no, it eats meat and drags things down to the bottom of the water and drowns them out, and it's a predator. It eats meat. Like if you were swimming, if you jumped off Jack's boat out in the middle of the sound, and there's a sea lion, it could grab you and take you down, and you would never come back.
Okay.
It's not like, you know.
So that's your guess.
All right.
Yeah.
So like a
Like
sea
a-
wolf.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm gonna say it's
But in flipper form.
just to be the leader of a pack in a treacherous environment like the sea.
Sure. Man, Brandon,
like the lead dog.
you were so on, dude. Like you were so on, but then I don't know, this like Colombian, like I don't know, Spanish got you off, but it's totally a mythical creature from the Tlinkits. Ooh. And
So I had
it's
the-
meant to wish us good luck, which is why you'd want your boat named that if you're going to catch some kings, because there's no kings out there. You know, you want to be that 10-year-old catching, you know, the $150,000 fish.
Unless your
What
name
about
is
that guy?
Daniel Fifield.
His dad was amazing.
Yes.
How about our boat name though?
Dan.
This guy, I was like, trying to call the name in, and he's like, "What is?" I was like, "What's the name?" He's like, "COVID-19." I'm like, "Are you serious?" He's like, "Yeah, we're too sick." I'm like, so I call it in. I'm like,
did
"Yeah,
you name your
COVID-19."
boat?
Dan Fifield with a banger here. She's like, "Huh, COVID-19?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're too sick." Didn't get a laugh, but you know,
If only
all
we
right.
had a radio still.
They didn't laugh?
they didn't laugh. No.
Oh, man, that's
come
funny.
on.
Yeah, I don't know if she got the joke like too sick, or not. I don't know.
No, she didn't.
I don't think she's from East Side. She's probably Homer. That's a
There's
little
probably
slang.
some
Yeah, but the Homer
laughs on
folks
other
have-
boats. though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
oh,
Homer's
no.
all west.
No, the worst
side.
part was our radio wasn't working either, so I called it in, so no one else heard it.
Right.
Oh, okay.
I would have probably got the clap back from other boats on that.
Oh, no
but
doubt.
Yeah. It was pretty
So I
funny.
had the Alaskan Native.
Yeah, let's get the
Yeah,
history
yeah,
on
you
that.
were
What is
leaving.
it? What is it? What is it? For all these wannabe Seawolves fans, I know all of us fucking went to UA. Me and Josh did.
It was a
We were
Tlingit,
At least
you
in
know,
the park.
A
mythical-
Tlingit mythical
mythical
creature.
which
Seawolf.
which was thought to give you good luck.
Yeah, like this hoodie will. If you go to
Yeah, yeah.
AlaskaWildProject.com.
Dude, that hoodie is sick, actually.
Yeah, it is Seawolf colors.
Dude, when I
So
cracked the
that's
box
good.
open, I was like, and you had seen it. You'd already seen it. And I did the inventory. I'm like,
Yeah,
Wow.
they'll probably be sold out by the time this podcast comes out.
yeah, no, it's.
So we did have a favorite dad joke on the Homer King trip.
Ooh.
I thought it was pretty good.
The dad joke.
Yeah, so you can't
What was it?
answer this one because you know this one already.
Well, let the
So
other
what
dads
is
answer.
a pirate's favorite letter?
I don't know. Something like R.
No, it's the C.
The C.
You didn't give it the right flex.
yeah.
Shit. Okay.
Yeah, I think there needed more lead up to
yeah,
that.
that was better when we were like 8 cider mimosas in.
Oh, I bet.
The C.
boat.
Damn,
Off
dude, you
in the
want to.
spirits.
I felt so left out, dude.
Hey, you didn't miss anything.
I was following all you guys' Instagrams. I was like, oh, what's that?
Yeah, you didn't like it though.
FOMO.
Well, I just, I'm.
Yeah, Dan
I
was
suck
like,
at that shit.
Dan was like, yeah, I tried to text my brother a picture, and you already. He's like, yeah, I already saw it on Instagram. Like, fuck, crazy world with Brando and Carlo on Instagram.
Right.
Yeah.
Every
for
time I
the-
see Brandon, every time I see Carlo on my story, like that he
Like
saw
what?
my, I'm like, I'm still in shock. Like, damn, old Carl's on here and shit.
Carlo's
Like,
on Instagram?
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah, he is.
Oh.
Yeah.
Carlo,
We joined around
this
the
is the
same
year.
time.
Yeah,
dude.
Brandon
Spawned
and
into
Carlo came out of the woodworks in
Yeah.
2021, and they're officially on social media.
Yep. Give them a follow. They have
Hey,
no
Wop.
idea what they're doing.
No,
Not at all.
I suck, dude. I'm like the worst. For the record, man, I was out ripping with the kids on the side by side. I was out
Nice.
on. I was in the valley, and the cell phone was in and out. I kept trying to take. I was trying to take a bunch of stuff, and I'm driving, and I'm, and I finally just put my cell phone away. I'm like,
Yep.
dude, it's just too much work,
Good call.
you know.
Did you
And,
see me giving Carlo the tutelage on like, this is how you do a story on my Instagram? Like we're in Backwoods Lodge.
I know I'm still
A
waiting
quick,
for
a quick
fucking
funny
update.
story on the Derby. So we had full intentions to like film
this is
entire
great.
thing. Okay. I wanted to film it. We brought the GoPros out and I'm like taking footage the whole way and
Those ciders will get in the way.
So
Yeah.
let's start off with this though. Like Daniel did a great job filming on the way down, and we're pulling into that ridge was it Grace Ridge right before you drop down.
Yeah.
Then we
Yeah.
pop off
Right off
and
the
we're
bluff
watching
when you
people
come down,
fish. And Daniel at this point this is an important fact. Daniel's all about catching kings and getting the boat in the water. So let's hear the rest of it. Oh, and setting us up for AJ's Steakhouse and getting us reservations.
Yeah.
Boots
Oh,
came.
you were
it was
full
money.
lead dog, dude?
That's where we saw JJ
I
that
went
night.
full lead dog,
Oh,
man.
dude,
Listen,
he
Did
did
the
money.
other guys come with you to the steakhouse?
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
everyone.
Yeah, your
I got
brother
the
was-
homies,
oh, yeah.
dude. Listen,
No
we
one
all
was
come in
there. It's cool, man. You
Listen.
didn't miss out.
Yeah, you didn't
I'm
miss
sure I
out.
didn't.
Nothing. JJ was there, but you didn't miss out.
Yeah. Dan was there. Eric was there. The whole boat.
Yeah, the Omers
Brother,
were there.
that's the only one that caught the king.
Yeah, he did
Yeah.
come.
Yeah, put them on it.
Anyway,
So I'm taking video, right? And I want to do
Josh,
this
like
thing.
king right there.
And so I decide
We're
that it's a good idea to like I want to get like the boat backing up into the harbor, and
Oh, it was all sick, dude.
I
You guys
I
got it
set
all
the
good.
I set the GoPro up on the little tripod to like get the boat going
Yeah,
up, and I'm
the
like,
time
man,
lapse and-
I want to speed it up and get multiple boats going in the time lapse, right? So we put the boat in the water, and I'm gonna go
park the truck because I'm getting the
and
boat running.
yeah. So I go park the truck in the trailer, and I come back.
I was
and,
the film guy parking the truck with like 18
well,
guys. on the
not
boat.
everyone
That's the
can
part.
park or drive a truck
Well, no,
with a
no,
trailer.
no.
This
So,
is a very
no,
big
we-
facts.
That's a very true.
The other
statement.
factor we had is that like we had the little brother factor where like CJ and Jerry were off doing something else. So it was Freshie and me and Daniel like doing boat
okay.
stuff.
Yeah, and you can trust certain dudes with
Yeah, no, I mean,
parking
there's
the
just
truck,
like, hey,
and it's not his
like-
truck; it's his dad's truck.
No, I
with the
mean,
trailer.
it's a team effort. It's a team effort.
I know
yeah.
how to handle a trailer
Yeah,
and back up
yeah,
a
yeah,
trailer
yeah.
and do this
Right,
stuff.
right, right.
Okay.
So I'm like, I'll
He
take care of
relied
that.
on you, yeah.
Yeah, I just relied on. I was like, I'm going to do the
Yep.
trailer. So I set up the GoPro. I'm going to get all these shots of the
Pop,
thing
pop, pop.
going. I go up. I go park the trailer. I come back. I'm like, where's the GoPro?
And we had to walk the boat back, and the whole time we walk the boat back, other people they don't really have the lines designated like Whittier, where it's like this is in and this is
Oh,
out. People
so
are
all
in,
over the
and
fucking
then
place.
there's like
Yeah.
these random outs. So they're like coming around our boat, or we're going around their boat. This weird deal.
Yeah.
And so lots of people are foot traffic on that dock.
But I'm thinking this is a cool shot, dude. I'm
Oh,
going to
it's
get
money.
like
Oh no, it's
10 boats,
Perfect. Yeah.
speed it up, dude. Just dun, 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 dropping it off, right?
Yeah.
So I go drop off the truck and the trailer. I come back, and I don't see the GoPro. And I'm like, oh, man. So I called Josh and Eric and your brother, and I'm like, hey, did you guys grab the GoPro maybe? You know what I'm saying? And like, no, I didn't grab it. I called CJ, and they had left, the harbor. I was supposed to meet you guys at HH or whatever.
Well,
down the
then
way.
you went
Yeah.
back to the truck to look.
I did.
and
So I was like, let me. So they're like, no, we
Yeah,
don't
the
see it in the boat.
full
I'm like,
scramble
I was
now.
like,
You're like,
oh,
oh,
maybe I
man.
just took it with me. So I go back to the truck, and I look in the truck, and I'm like, man, I would have just set it on top, and I don't see it,
Yeah,
and I just
no.
realized, like, dude, someone stole the GoPro, dude. I was like, that's fucked up, dude. So
why
I'm
would
mad,
somebody do
dude.
that?
I meet these
it
guys at
went
the end of
from
the port.
fishing and wanting to catch a king to like only caring about this GoPro.
Dude, I was upset, dude.
Oh yeah.
I was
No,
upset.
it'll
I've
piss
already
in your
took a lot of
churros there.
footage. I'm trying to like do something for Alaska Wild Project, film something, do a
Yeah.
bunch of cool stuff,
Full documentation.
full documentation, and so but we're gonna go fishing. So like, we get out there. I think an hour in.
Well, then we tried to leave the harbor, but then Jerry and CJ didn't bring the only thing we asked them to bring, the bait.
Oh,
Remember? So we
jeez.
leave the bay,
fuck, what the
and then
hell?
I turn around. I'm like, "Hey, man, you brought the bait down at least, right?" And they're like, "Oh," and I was like, "All right, we're gonna turn this around."
come back around, get the bait.
Pro tip: you put the bait in the boat in the driveway, so
It
it
is a
thaws
pro-
out.
Pro trip.
Just throwing it out there. Freezer in the garage.
Right to the boat.
Out to the boat. Drop it.
Yeah.
You get to wherever you're going, it's thawed.
Yeah.
But
Just
this is
throwing it
also
out
like
there. So,
like lack of communication.
neither here nor
on the
there
captain,
now.
right?
Just wanted to let you guys know that that's usually a pretty good tactic.
Like
Yeah.
the
Next time when we bring you,
the captain knows, like, hey, we're gonna launch the boat and go fishing. And
Yeah.
I
he
didn't realize
he gives tasks. It's like, hey,
Yeah,
the
I'm
captain
trusting
can't do it
you.
all.
No,
it's like,
of course
hey, you
not.
park the boat, you bring the
Yeah,
bait, you
yeah,
bring the beer,
yep.
you bring the food. Like, do your
and
job.
it should all be
Yeah.
in the boat.
Yeah.
But-
So anyway,
Okay.
I'm fucking pissed. We go out on the boat. It's a
GoPro's
beautiful
lost.
day. I'm
We got no
I
bait.
had a good time.
Bluebird, bathtub water.
Oh, dude, I'm like, man, someone
Yeah, the
stole
photos
this
were
thing, dude.
stupid. They
I
were so
called the
beautiful.
harbor master. I'm like, did someone turn it in? I might have left it. Nothing.
Oh,
We go do our whole trip, go out that night, come back, and then on the way back in, I'm like, man, maybe someone like kicked that thing in the water on accident.
It's funny because when you walked down, we were walking up, and I saw it, and I was like, damn, it's sitting there on the tripod right next to the water, and well, oh, here comes Daniel. So he's gonna pick it up. And in that time, from when we passed it to when you were walking down and we said hi to you and you went past us, someone had kicked it in the water. So it was like
so
small window.
a long story short, we come back and I'm like, drop me off at the front. I think someone kicked it in the water, and I go up there and it's sitting in the water
So
on
There
the
it is.
tripod, face up. Yeah. So there's like a family pulling in. I'm like, can I borrow your net? And they give the net. And like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I got it. GoPro.
Yeah.
And I'll put
Dan
the
was
video
so
on.
excited. And
Dude,
we
I was
have,
so
like,
happy, dude.
3 different people from our boat took a video of Daniel doing this. So it is great.
We'll put it up. We'll put the video up.
Yeah, he is so
Yeah,
excited.
that was the only thing we caught was the GoPro.
So did the GoPro come out of the rice pot good now, or where are we at now?
The SD card got corrupted, and
did.
the actual like mod thing, the microphone mod thing, got fucked up on it. I actually haven't like put a new one in and to see
What it was?
but I know the camera turns on, and the SD card got messed up. But I think it's still gonna be.
Well, GoPro's designed to go in assault.
Yeah, I thought it was.
So-
designed
It
to
is,
go
but
underwater.
not
the
not
add-ons.
if you add the mod. I have
Yeah,
like the media mod
right.
that has a good microphone on it.
Now
and
that
stuff
thing's
like
toast. That's toast.
Done,
probably.
dude. I just pulled it out. It's like,
Crusty
like, dude,
and,
totally.
yeah.
Like it's been in the ocean for years. It
Yeah,
looks
salt
weird.
water just fucks
yeah, it
everything
fucked it
up,
all up.
dude.
So we saw 2 people lift things like the Stanley Cup down there. You know, we saw the 10-year-old lift the winning king, and he, you know, we're thinking that's $150,000 king because he won the
Amazing.
biggest king, the biggest white king, and the youth.
And
However,
and all the side bets, because he was in the 25, the 50, the
Right.
75, 100, and the two like the only one he wasn't in was the 150, which is what we were in.
oh, all right.
So he was in
he
and,
killed
and
it.
the
So probably
200.
even
So he
better
won
than
all the
150.
side bets and everything. Yeah, they
But
killed it.
I
Shout out
did-
to his dad, because you know
Yeah.
A
You know,
10-year-old
yeah,
little
good
boy
dad.
caught
this
the
kid
one.
was
yeah.
yeah.
How big was it?
26 pounder.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a hog, dude.
I told
was a
Dan
good
if he
one.
didn't bleed ours, we might have
Yeah,
had.
it might have hit like 16 and a half, maybe.
Yeah, you never bleed that.
Never bleed it.
Yeah,
He bled
never
it, and we
Dan did that?
Yeah, we went down
No,
to Fort.
Rookie mistake.
He's a Deshka fisherman. He's like, yeah, harvest
Well,
meat. You
none
know,
of us,
hey.
to his credit, none of us said anything either. Eric, neither.
Well, it didn't matter.
What was the
Didn't
final
matter.
weight?
We were 50th, bro. So we're out.
Yeah,
way
yeah,
out.
Like
yeah,
four,
not
you
even
were
that.
you were like 14.
When we caught that
13
fish at
pounder.
9:07 a.m., shout out to Alaska. When we caught that at 9:07 a.m., we thought we were winning the
Oh,
day.
that's a good
Trust
shout
me.
I'll tell you, when he sent me the picture, I guessed it at 16 pounds.
That's what I thought.
And what
15,
did it
16.
weigh out?
Yeah, like
Weighed
14.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, the eats don't even matter, because that was some good.
Oh,
eats.
dude, look, you're a boat that got a fish.
Yeah,
That's right.
and not
So-
everybody did.
I heard it was a slow, tough fishing.
Yeah.
We had
weekend.
our downrigger flagged twice. Once was for a halibut, and the other was an Irish lord.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So it was tough.
Yeah.
It's all good though, man. Like
Yeah.
y'all are out there.
It was about
And
getting out. What a beautiful day that
the
was.
day
It
was just
amazing.
stupid funny.
It's like kicking off the
beautiful.
summer. Like, you know that it's summertime now. You know, you're
Oh
just,
yeah, is it?
You're out. I mean,
Yeah.
I was suns out, guns out, sending
Oh, yeah.
videos to my kids, like shirts off, just red
You had a lot of
faced.
the cider mosas in you.
Oh yeah, you know, just doing it. It was just amazing.
Yeah, it was,
Was
a
it
good
just
time.
the 3 of you on Eric's boat too?
yeah,
Man, that's a good number.
it was amazing.
Yeah. You don't
was
got
good.
too much shit, just enough
Yeah, except
hands
for
to help
Dan.
with everything.
Dan was cooking up a lot of chorizos, man. That was not good.
Oh.
He force fed me some chorizos.
Oh, so you're blowing that hotel room
Blowing it
up,
out.
dude.
Yeah.
The bucket got used.
Yeah, chorizos. Yeah, the bucket definitely came in handy for sure. The chorizo is not the best choice of diggities.
No.
Not the best glizzy.
No.
Yeah.
So, this whole thing with raising their hands up, celebrating, like that kid's, the 10-year-old, he was
Oh,
stoked. We watched it.
Yeah.
It wasn't even close to what you'll see in the video when Daniel nets this GoPro. He is so excited that he nets the GoPro. It is. I watched them both, and it's not even close. Daniel is like the real champion.
I turned the whole weekend around, dude. I can go to Salty Dog and talk to Gene in peace.
Man, we didn't see Gene all weekend though.
Oh,
Where was Gene at?
I don't know.
He was so excited. He was out pretty
I
late.
asked for her. She said they said she was gone home early because she's a manager. I'm like, wow, she came up because usually she's out here keeping the bar open for us.
Oh,
You know what I'm
She's
saying?
moving up in the game.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of like the other bros in the game of documenting the adventure. Ship breaks, gets lost, tips over, falls in a crevasse. I mean,
You want to talk about me? I mean,
whoa, Wreck-It Ralph?
gears. I just take it as a grain of salt. Like shit's gonna get broken if I borrow it. Probably gonna, break it and fix it. Like that's how it goes. You know.
How about like, was it
I think
like
it's karma.
3 weeks ago we hooked up and I was like, yo, I got the gift bag. So I got the merch and we link up, jump in the car. This dude just grabs the bag and goes
Right away.
takes our beautiful Alaska Wild Project badge.
Should have got a thicker bag.
I mean, it's he's like,
It rips. Yeah.
it's like, well, you know,
That's kind of how it is.
yeah. No, I mean, I
Just
wouldn't
ride the
have
shit
it. I
hard.
wouldn't have it
Yeah.
any other way though. I mean, I'd go down in a plane with you and survive in the woods any day.
One
for the
thing
record,
about it is
so.
it's gonna probably come back to you better than it left you because it's gonna be newer.
Gonna get a new one.
He's like, let me get you the upgraded version
I
of that.
definitely don't come short on
inreach.
the wallet when it comes to repairing my friend's shit.
Oh,
when
man.
I break it.
What about Dan's rods on the Kenai, dude?
Man,
Two. Two rods.
bait casters, man. I don't like bait
Yeah,
casters.
you're not a bait caster guy.
No, I flip and I use my fly rod and those are bait casters. So it has a weird handle where I'm used to holding it a different way. So you hit the fish and it pops up out of your hand and that thing slides forward. And I don't know.
leverage is
I got the
reversed.
tennis elbow now from just
Flip after flip.
100,000 flips on the Kenai River. Like I said, I've been going there since I was in my underwear at 4 years old. And like I literally caught my first fish in my underwear on the Kenai Keys.
You got a picture of that?
I do. I posted
Okay, we'll put that up on
Yeah,
this.
put it up there.
There's a
It's
husky
just
boy out
straight up.
there just getting after it.
Yeah, man, old blonde boy from Glencairn Trailer Park, number 32.
It's a half chub.
Just couldn't afford the waders or the boots, so Pops had me out there with the fucking
the black
fucking
rubber boots with the orange
sliding treble hook or the treble hook with the sliding weight and the cigarette dangling in his mouth, like
Yeah.
fishing, whatever, back in the days, and caught my first fish out there. But so I've been doing it for so long. That day, I'd never fish with the bait caster. I hit the bait caster, boom, the rod just slides out of my hand. I'm like, fuck. Now, so to this day, I fish with two hands on my pole now because I'm getting to that point where I'm old and shit.
Remember the time you went with me and you lost like 2 of my rods in a row?
Was
that it?
No, it was another time.
I
lost one of
This
your-
is with my brother.
Remember you
Dan.
lost one and then you
One of
lost
yours.
another one?
I lost
Yeah.
one of yours.
Double the double.
Yeah.
No, like the sockeye was just like, da-da-da, there goes the rod, like,
Yeah.
like it's, like a rod just darts down into
And
the
for
stream.
me, that's
It's
that like sinking feeling of like I've been fishing my whole life here since I was a little kid. I've never one time lost a rod, and this day I lose 2 of my buddy's rods in the same day, and I'm like, what the fuck?
yeah,
is
we got
going on?
we got that one on you, dude.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh,
Yeah, and well, you know
This
what?
dude says he fishes this shit all the time. Like,
You're on my boat.
Can't
Brought
even-
you there.
oh no, I mean you put us on the fish.
Yeah,
Like there's
fish
no
is
doubt
popping.
about it. Like
Yeah.
everybody was like da 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 all day,
Yeah,
rod
all day
bending,
long.
just arms were just carpal tunneled
Yeah,
out. Like
yeah. And
fish
I
after
don't know.
fish after
So,
fish.
To this day, I fish now when I'm on the Kenai. I fish with 2 hands just so I don't lose the rod. If these fucking things cost $600, I already lost a few.
Yeah,
of them.
no, they get expensive.
Yeah, I don't know. Your hands get 42. So, am I 42? Yeah, 42.
Yep.
Man.
The Homer tournament was great, though, and shout out to our boat. Everyone put in a lot of hard work. They were dialed in. Every single person did an awesome job.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of fun.
It's an amazing trip.
All the listeners, get down and do it. It is great.
Yeah,
I mean, we
man.
came home empty-handed, and we still had the greatest time.
Yeah, it's not about catching the king.
No.
That's a bonus. That's the icing on the cake. But the trip, the drive back. I mean, it's like
T-shirt weather this
you know,
time.
there's like,
yeah.
because it was a whole month later, so it was a lot warmer. Man, I saw all the pictures, man, driving down the bay, like.
Well, dude, just
You
like
know,
I was like,
everything,
man, I was like, could
everything
it
we
be any
do-
better? Like, what the hell, dude?
Just like everything we do here, like it's about the adventure. It's about the trip.
Yes.
It's not about the kill. It's not about the catch. It's not about.
It's about the boys get a
It's
time
about
out
the
to
boys
get out
getting
there.
out. Yeah, that's it. You know,
Thank you,
everything-
Josh. It's
everything.
not about the kill and the catch
It's
and all
not.
that stuff, dude.
No, it's the
The
time out in the
experience.
woods. Yeah, out in the salt, out in the river.
right.
The
You know,
conversations, the
reset.
bonding, the
Yes,
just
that's,
all of
that's,
it.
That's our church. You know, that's where
Yeah.
we go. Yeah.
I agree.
Good.
For
Yeah,
real.
we kind of like dubbed this word. It's called Alaska Rich.
Yeah.
It's this like,
I like it.
you know, you can be
Alaska Rich
and
is
it has many forms,
yeah.
but it's and it might kind of sound
could be-
cliche to some, you know. You can segue in. I just wanted to say it's the experience. That's what
Yeah.
the weekend warrior, the moose hunt, the
Yeah.
big trip, the
guy that's able to
adventure.
get out there and do what he wants to do, and he's got his little cabin, and he's got his little Toyota truck with the thing, and he's has his time to
doesn't
get
got
out
a
there.
lot of money, man. He just
But you're Alaska rich. You know what I'm saying? You have the time to
Yeah.
go do all these things. You know, that's something to strive for.
it's the
You
sunrise.
know, you could
it's
do
the
it at every
sunset,
different
it's
level.
just
You could be in the tent or you can be in the big cabin. But
Speaking
it doesn't
of the
matter.
moose hunt, so we went out on our snow machine trip to the Backwoods Lodge out in Cantwell, and our buddy Nick Pless brought out the back strap and the moose tenderloin, and that was the first time I've actually had a steak. I've had dogs, I've had hamburger and all that, but you know, going from trying a caribou steak to eating a moose tenderloin there's no comparison. And I
Oh,
mean, you
not
want
even
to talk
close.
about selling me, like I don't think I'll ever get a caribou permit before I'll go on a moose hunting trip ever again, because I am fully motivated to I want to be part of a moose kill. I want to go experience that. I want to see the call in. I want to see how that all works, like the field dressing of the animal, all those things that go into that. I'm just like, I'm looking so forward to our raft trip this summer or this fall.
Yep.
Like, man, that's gonna be I hope we get a moose, because I'm just like, I'm hooked now, man. I can't
it's
eat
really-
anything
it's really
else.
tasty.
It's amazing.
And we didn't actually even touch into the hunting tip yet on your hunting. And I know that I kind of took you on some of the first hunting adventures you've been on, and
Yeah.
and you've taken it on your own and gone on your own and brought your oldest sons on some of those hunting trips. And what's your like mind state on the whole hunting aspect of what you're doing? That's just another little element of what you got going on.
Yeah.
What's your feelings on it?
I just feel like I'm at the tip of the iceberg. Like I was telling these guys earlier, like I haven't really got into it. I've only caribou hunted, and you know, I watch you guys do the sheep hunts, and I feel like that's calling me. Like it's a thing that I have to do. I feel like at some point now that, you know, I've been, it's kind of role reversal for us now, like where you're super busy and I'm more free. In the last 5 years building these businesses and all that, I've been kind of super busy and couldn't go on any of the stuff when you guys were doing it. And so now I feel like I'm to a point where I'm ready to do that. And I feel like it's just, there's this endless adventures like that I could go on. I'm like so looking forward to this moose hunt that we're doing. I hope that if we don't get one, I could go on another trip, and just like the whole sheep hunt. I mean, it's just, I'm just drawn to it. I just want to do it all and experience it while I can still do it while I'm active, and while we're all in that mode where we're just going out and doing it, you know? So
Yeah.
it just
It went from planning shows to planning hunts.
yeah, it's just another thing that just, man, when you live up here, like if you're not doing that stuff, it's tough
What
to
are you
live.
doing?
It's tough to live here, you know?
Here then.
Yeah, you're you know, if you're not utilizing what's at your back door, then what are you doing here? You know, those are the people that don't like living here, you know? So
And really quick, for any people that are listening and it's like, man, you're not really into it. Some of our boys, like JJ was mentioning it, like he wants to come out on a trip with us. like, dude, hit us up, man. We are a
we'll
source
take
of
you up.
information for people to be like, what do I need? Where should I go? What should I do? We're not going to give you the fucking epic secret spot, but we're going to get you in the right path. Or like, you want to go with a guide, you know, hit us up, man. We are here to educate, and we are here to help people that are trying to do it. Newbies, professionals, anyone that needs a little extra advice. We're in a platform with many people that are been doing this for a long time, and we have a lot of advice to give, and we're going to be open and honest with you and be like, I wouldn't bring that or that sucks. I'd bring this or that, like, simply from experience. I mean, you're talking to an experienced group of people. Shoot us an email. You have a question about this or that, and we'll be honest. Either A, we can answer it, or B, we know who can answer it.
I feel like you in particular, you've been the guy that, a couple guys put you into stuff, and then you kind of flipped that and brought all your boys in. Like, like you brought all of our friends into hunting where they weren't necessarily hunting before, you and Cisco or whatever. But you in particular are like someone that wants to just like, this week, this guy's coming with me, or that, you have some random person come with you and you show them the ropes. And that's kind of, you've always been like that teacher kind of guy.
Yeah. It comes from a lifetime of being a teacher. And I think Jack has kind of the same things as where there's one person that needs to take charge of the group. Yeah. And you got your boys in your group. And it's like, if no one organizes it and teaches other people how to do it, then no one else is going to pass that on. Right.
I think it's also important to pass along like the philosophy behind it. Like we're out there for that reset, enjoying the wilderness, enjoying time with family or friends, teaching kids how to do stuff, harvesting for food. Like we're not out there for like trophies. Yeah. And what I've really struggled with is like finding people my age that aren't out there for the trophies, that are out there for that experience, and that are willing to put in the hard work to have that reset, to harvest that meat, to share that with your kids, and teach that to other people. And anyway,
I'd rather take a new person than someone who's like looking for the biggest ram or the biggest whatever. Dude. I'd rather take someone that's never been, and I have so much to show you, and you're not going to learn it all on the first time, but they're so ready to absorb it all, and they just I gain so much more from that than like taking someone who's like done it all and they're just looking for a new spot or whatever. Right. Like I'm not, don't hit us up for that.
Yeah. Think or have to bring home meat every time. Yeah. It's like, well, you go out and work for it. This isn't guaranteed. We don't need to find a new spot. We don't need to fly in with a guide to this other thing. Like we're going to go work.
Yep. Think about when I was thirsting for the, after I first had my caribou, and then I wanted the rack, and we went out and shit, I was, shooting at everything and just ready, that whole trip I was just ready to kill. I wanted a rack so bad that I could,
kind of bloodthirsty in a way.
Bloodthirsty, and that whole, and when you think back on the trips, you all go through those all the different things that come along with hunting, and that was one of them. And I just think back on that, like, it takes away from the experience,
It does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The experience is the main thing.
Yeah. Being 100%. Out there. Yeah, being out there.
Being out there, whether you get something or not, if you get something, that's just like the cherry on top. That's the peak of the pyramid. There's a lot of levels below that, where that you are gaining a lot of experience and knowledge and fun times.
All my favorite moments have to do with like remembering a certain footstep I put down when I was working hard towards a goal, or like in a good mind space, or watching the animals when they're alive.
Yeah.
Like all of them are those two. Yep. There's no best moments like holding up the biggest rack.
Yep. Yeah. And as an example, the post I posted today, for those this is a little late and you go back, it's just a little trail in the Golcana where we portage. That's the most nightmare fucking time of the entire trip. The rest of the time is glory and beers and fun and all that. That's the time where you got to carry all the stuff for a quarter mile across the canyon. And if you know, because that's the time that sucks. Yeah. But that's the time that you remember. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's actually important. Like absorb that sucky time and just let it radiate out to something better.
Well, without the suck, you don't know how good everything is.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. It helps you enjoy the little things a lot more when you experience that shit that puts you to the fucking test.
Yeah.
100%.
Man, oh man.
100%.
The littlest things, a sunset, a sunrise.
The clouds.
The clouds, all that, the rain.
Watching a bull and a cow intermix, and the bull ain't legal. You ain't shooting nothing, but you sit there for 3 hours and you just watch them in their natural habitat.
Yeah.
Interacting, doing their thing. Just
100%.
tell me what you know. Everybody remembers the photo of the big rack. That's cool. Put that on Instagram.
Yeah.
Post
that's
that thing.
that's a blip in a lifetime of experiences.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, those big racks we got that day, that was a great day.
I was gonna say, man, that caribou kind of journey hunting that you've done.
Yeah.
And that day you like literally guided me on.
Right.
I mean, we had our pick of.
It was thousands of caribou.
I mean, there was just racks on racks, and
Daniel actually showed me that spot. We went up there on a Friday. I was like, hey, I'm looking for, Brandon was down to go. We went. It was 2016.
Just came off of a 10-day moose hunt, literally 4 days before that.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, let's do a day trip to Cantwell. We literally went up there, left at, 6 a.m., got up there on the trail at 10. By 2:30, we see 3,000 caribou up there, by near Brush
Pouring
Canna,
in the valley.
in the Brush Canna area. I mean, we ended up shooting 2 side by side, just epic bulls, in the middle of, they're in the middle of rut. It was like the last day of the season, and we didn't even think about the rut factor or whatever, and ended up shooting 2 beautiful bulls. And then, we had to learn the hard way about the rut and didn't.
The meat. And,
the meat.
Yep.
Yeah. So
That was
you guys
brutal.
Know the secret here?
what's that?
Milk.
Milk?
Yeah, you soak it in the milk.
Not
Oh,
these
this is
bulls.
beyond
Not
these
these
ones. This
bulls.
is
Yeah,
beyond
these
the
are
milk
beyond.
here.
Not these bulls.
Even
Really?
old Uncle Tommy couldn't.
No, it was
Have you
a
tried
humbling. I like that you brought that up, Josh.
Yeah.
Because, just like Jeff with the Mediocre Podcast, and he likes to talk about the real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not everybody's
Let's be
shooting the
real.
370s and all the bullshit, right? Like
Yeah.
we had the most epic day trip you could like ever want.
Yeah.
But we go and harvest these 2 beautiful, big, healthy, mature bulls
Side by side.
side by side and didn't eat an ounce of the meat.
Yeah.
And I'll admit that.
Yeah.
I didn't eat an ounce of that meat because it was rutted out. I mean, I
When we were cleaning them, you were like, "Do you smell that?" And I'm like, "No, it'll be okay." I'm a rookie.
Well,
to
you guys
hunting
went
stuff.
the whole process. You got it processed.
Well, no,
checked it. all
well,
that.
we got a portion of it processed. My uncle's a butcher. I took it to Uncle Tom,
Yep.
Johnny Wags. They process it. He's like, well,
We
let me
gave
run
him 20 pounds,
He's
and
like,
we
let
were
me
like,
run
hey.
20 pounds. We'll see what it tastes like.
jalapeno cheese hot dogs. You can't go
Jalapeno
wrong.
cheddars, Uncle Tom could eat it. He's like, it's not bad. Whatever. I ate it and I threw up in my mouth. I mean, it was it was bad.
I cooked a tenderloin in my kitchen on a cast iron on butter, salt, pepper, butter on a cast iron. I don't know what other pure way you can put game meat,
Yeah.
and it stuck my house up like
Couldn't eat
rotten sugar bacon.
it. Yeah. And
Like,
you
it
feel
was just
horrible. You feel
disgusting.
horrible because
It takes away from the
the whole
Yeah,
thing.
like here I got this beautiful rack over my doorway, and that bull is
And that story's forever tied with it.
in that hunt, the stalk, the
Everything.
kill,
The way it happened.
bro.
Yeah.
Like your caribou was fighting and like brawling for like an hour, and he was just
Yeah.
that whole like scene, dude,
Yeah.
that we saw, and like we shot mine, and he dropped, and the whole herd didn't move, and then yours was fighting, and like he fought like 3 other caribou, and was like this.
In my head, it was yours.
brawler.
That was fighting,
No, that was yours that was
mine?
fighting, dude.
Okay.
He was just these bulls kept challenging him. He was just da da da,
Yeah.
and he fought off 2 other bulls and just made him submit.
yeah.
And you took him, and it was just like, damn, dude. Like he wasn't even the biggest bull, but he just owned him up, dude.
Yeah.
And he was just this. It was so cool of experience, but then like,
But being new and hunting, for me, I didn't even know about that.
yeah.
I
Pro tip.
knew,
pro
but
tip.
I didn't
Pro
know,
tip.
man.
That's something you learned the
Yeah,
hard way
yeah.
after September 20th.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of mule deer hunters out there right now that are, I hope at some point listen to this podcast, and whitetail deer and these guys that all kill big, huge bucks out there in Iowa and Minnesota and the different areas where they get some monsters, and they've had this experience too. They've killed a rut animal. And you know what? For me, it's for the better, because now to this day, I'll pass up.
Yeah, me too.
On that rocking chair.
And that's where I want to come in with the pro
like
tip.
I
Like,
just,
when you're looking at a caribou that's in the rut, dude, their throat is engorged. Their fur is really white and really engorged, where you can tell that it's really
swollen
up. Yeah. So don't shoot that animal. Shoot one of the lesser bulls that is maybe not as engorged, and you'll save their meat. You know,
or don't shoot. I mean, it's like one or the other. Like
I did donate my meat to the Alaska Zoo,
and so did I.
So the meat was used. You know what I mean?
We didn't go throw it in a dumpster. I mean, we it was a time of humility and grounding for a person who felt like, I think I know what I'm doing out there. I'm this Alaskan guy. I've killed moose and bears and done all this stuff, and I went and harvested this animal, and
you just feel bad.
I was like, you know what?
But that happens.
For me, it was my first time even knowing about that. So like I said, I hadn't been hunting for years. I just started with you. And so for me, it was like the first time I had even heard about that. And then when I found out that it was like commonplace knowledge that every hunter should know, I felt like a jackass for not knowing it. But
well, it's not something that everyone should know, and hopefully some people are going to walk away and learn something from this.
Well, it helps when it slaps you in the face.
I feel like
it really does.
Meat care, that I would consider that part of meat care. It's like kind of an afterthought.
Yeah,
very true, Jack.
It really shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be. It should actually be a planned thing, and we should actually maybe do an episode on meat care. On like, listen, be prepared, especially that Alaska's heating up. It's hotter now. Let's just be honest. It's hotter now when you're taking these animals, and be prepared and what to do with that.
I had another time where I caught. I shot the first time I brought my daughter Annalise and Cyril with us hunting, and I wanted to get my daughter involved in hunting, and I wanted her to see the kill. So it was me, you, Cisco, Cyril, and Annalise. We went to Eureka, and then we camped, not at 360 because it was too windy, went down in the valley. And then the next day we went way back to the Yakko Valley, and I ended up shooting 2 caribou because I had a proxy. So my daughter got to like see, it was amazing trip, like saw the stock, like, you know, walk down, shoot this one. Then we go get the meat trailer that we left over here. Boom, here's another one. So we got 2 caribou down. And then, you know, this is later in the afternoon. We're way back from camp, you know. And so we get them all cleaned up. It's like 7:30, 8. We don't get back to camp until midnight. We got them in the meat wagon, and we're just like, oh, we're going to leave the next day. So we leave them in there, right? Another learning lesson, right? We leave them in there all the way from that night to the next day when we wake up in the morning, go home, get them back to processing and everything. And by that time, it had been a full day that they've been. And we're thinking, oh, they're going to be cool, we'll be fine, whatever. But you know, the heat is still on the meat, and it's together,
it's spreading.
Oh yeah, it's
even though it's freezing cold outside, they're compacted in this meat wagon, and they're together.
Bone rot,
right?
Yep.
And so,
meat.
Luckily, that meat did not get tarnished. But that was another thing that we didn't think about on meat care that we kind of learned on the go. That, like, you know, hey, you got to get this out of the trailer. You got to separate it. You have
that convection,
even if you're leaving in the morning. Or whatever.
Yeah.
Even if you think it's cold
even
at
if
night.
You've been on a 14-hour day and you rode 100 miles and you're back with your kids, you want to have a fire, and you got to get the meat out, you got to spread it out, you got to
hang it,
whatever you got to do. And so we learn, you know, all these things. Like there's no real, like, you know, guidebook to teach you all this stuff, or you kind of learn it as you go, or whatever.
So I have a really good story on meat care that has to do with sheep, you know. So you're out sheep hunting in August.
That's a tough one too.
It's not cold or whatever. So, you know, we've always brought up 2 black, you know, hefty bags, like the construction strength per like whatever quarter. So, you know, we'll haul like 10 or 12 of those in to cool the meat down in a river, so the meat doesn't get cold. So my dad and I knocked down 2 rams in the same day a few years ago, and we cool them down and then get back to camp late, and the next night we cook up both of the we took a tenderloin from each ram. And I mean, they were cold and they didn't get wet. We did all the right things. Good care while butchering these animals. And one of the tenderloins tasted like sheep. The other one was the most god awful taste I've ever tasted.
Yeah.
And no idea why. So, we sat there all night, kind of figuring out what we wanted to do with all the meat. And so we did what, like the old grandpas told us was like put it in buttermilk. So we did put this awful, awful taste, like throw up your mouth in meat into just one of them. We had them all separated so we knew which one it was. And it was you have the horns right now, Brandon. There's 13-year-old.
Yeah,
it was a 13-year-old
double
ram.
boomer. Yeah.
And there was some weird stuff going on one of the tenderloins where like we went to go cut it and there was some pus coming out. So we had to, cut around that, and we realized the animal's probably a little sick.
Oh.
Anyway, so we go, we soaked it overnight in the buttermilk, and I'm not a chemist, but the enzymes in the milk like pulled all the blood out. And that sheep, the old sheep that tastes awful, was one of the best tasting animals I've ever eaten afterwards.
Wow.
And one night
Pro tip.
soaked in the buttermilk. So that did work. And so it's kind of like one of those learnings. Like we didn't know. We heard from my dad's dad, that worked for like elk in Wyoming back in the day.
Yeah, which are one of the, for the record, I'm sure these guys can vouch, one of the worst tasting animals at rut.
Was it because of rut, or was it because of just?
I think it was
sick.
the injury. He was sick. It wasn't during rut.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't be rut.
But
in
it was
August.
very much identifiable that it wasn't like meat care. Like we did a good job on both animals. He's like the butcher.
Does that
amongst
apply
his
to
animal.
rut, or does it just apply?
I think
to,
it does.
really.
Yeah. Now it doesn't apply to bone rot.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
know
bone
that-
rot's like gangrene rot.
right. So you don't cool that animal.
Rut's
down.
piss and meat.
Yeah, I took that
So-
meat from the trailer over to Alaska Sausage, and it's funny because Daniel will tell you the story about my first kill when I had the full. I didn't know what the blood situation was gonna be. You could post this picture of me when I was fully
The elbow deep.
Oh, yeah.
fully
orange gloves,
suited
bro.
with the
Grundens
oh yeah,
and,
Grundens, everything.
Yeah.
And so I take this meat over to Alaska Sausage, the potential bone rot or whatever, and I'm. I gloves on, everything. This guy just picks it up, just like my Uncle Tom, picks it up and just puts his face right in it, smells it.
It's
and he's
good.
like, I think you're good. I think you're good here.
Yeah. They'll let you know.
Uncle Tom.
Uncle T, baby. We got to get.
We'll take a bite of
We'll
it.
get one of these meat guys in here to talk more about like
yeah.
the meat science and taking care of meat and special tricks and the milk and all that.
Yeah.
We ran into 3 hours, boys. Good job.
It's a long one. We didn't even get into really anything.
No, well, we're gonna bring you back.
No,
Definitely,
yeah.
Bootsy's coming back.
220.
No, way before that. I think maybe episode
Yeah.
like 40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll bring you back
Might have
before
to
the
just
hunting
be
season.
a regular here. Just
Yeah.
come pop in. And
Yeah, because I feel like we just shot the shit. We didn't even get into anything.
Yeah, there's a lot more
No,
topics to
dude.
cover.
there never is enough time with these, bro.
Yeah. What I am going to do is Josh has gracefully allowed us to use his instrumental beat. That's our outro. Many people have already heard the outro. I'm actually going
beauty.
to play the song with the lyrics of Josh's outro for everyone. And we appreciate you coming in and just being a badass Alaskan and one of my best friends and a cannabis connoisseur and a hunter and a fisher and a snow machiner and a snowboarder and a badass hockey player and just a homie
Yes,
for
sir.
number one.
Repping the blue and gold, man.
His Alaskan story is.
We've only just touched the
it's like
iceberg.
just a little
at the
bit
top.
of the tip, man. Josh is a dude that, we've known each other a while, but we've become close over the last decade or less. In that range over crazy circumstances, right, Josh?
Yeah. Yeah.
And your story is nothing short of epic.
Well, I'm
And the
thankful for you
Alaskan
guys
and
because
everything.
you guys just put me on the gold, and then I go out there and just knock it down. That's what I do.
I do it joyfully, bro.
Yeah.
I the record off comes with the package.
That's
and
it.
I don't give a fuck, man.
That's why I knew you
you're a
two.
beauty, man.
The funny thing about this whole thing is I connected you two together.
Yeah.
Because
I would never met Brandon without Josh.
That's right.
Yeah.
I was like,
I wouldn't
you know
have met
what?
Jack without Daniel.
I was
mean,
like,
it
you
just-
guys love to go on Google Earth and look at maps and this drainage of that, and then I was like, why don't you guys hunt together? You know, and then next thing you know, here we are.
Yep.
How many years later you're doing a
6 sheep
podcast
hunts
together?
later.
Yeah.
Sheep hunts.
Endless hours of text messages and photos and
1,000
phone
hours
calls
of phone calls and Google Earth searches and all that, and then
All of it.
that's
how
what I'm
it
saying.
builds, man.
Like that's what I like to do is you guys gather the info and then I'll pull up like 2 years later and
We'll
just,
nerd out for you.
we'll knock it down.
Yeah. Just go full guide mode, man. Just
That's it.
bring that Winslow, man.
That's
Let's
it.
go do this.
You know I got the Wheezy Winslow.
Wheezy
I got
Winslow.
Wheezy Winslow and all the buttons, man. Get
all
us
the
out.
buttons, but he's got the safety and
All the
fucking
buttons.
maybe.
Button
You want to
pusher.
hit that 420 and then 911?
No,
Listen.
you know I got the double blanket, double emergency.
Oh
We
man,
love you, Boots, man. Thanks
Bootsy,
for coming
thank
on,
you.
baby.
Thank
Come,
you.
Thanks for
come
coming
support
on.
that Treehouse AK down there on Boniface. Local greens,
AWP.
all that stuff. AWP. Get on the website.
Double
Order
shot
yourself a
cider.
UA.
Anchorage Dogs.
Anchorage Dogs. Thank
Total
you.
Truck.
Trailer.
Yeah, man.
Yep. And
Lawn
so
Pro,
we're gonna
Snow
play the
Pro.
song. The
Yeah.
song that we normally have on the outro with the ad read is actually Josh's probably most famous song. I mean, I'd like to say 1 million downloads, but this shit came out when the iPad came out.
Can I get
There's
the
no-
East Side though?
Well, the thing with the whole shit is like the reason why I know is that still to this day, people come up to me and they say shit about it. Like 20 years, it's like, dude, I haven't put out nothing for
Yeah.
how long? You still talking like this? Like,
It almost makes you bashful, doesn't it?
yeah,
Like it almost
I
like
stay humble with it.
Yeah.
You know, like,
yeah.
thank you.
I've seen it. I've
Super
been out with you, and
appreciative.
they're like, you're like, oh,
Yeah, you're at
you know,
Walmart.
hey,
you're at Walmart or something.
Yeah.
Like, hey, are you?
hey, Boots,
You know.
Boots.
So that's how you know it's like timeless. You know, it's good shit. We had a good shit.
Yes. Alaska, stand up. We appreciate you. Thank you for listening. We love you.
You remember my speaking to you of what I call your overcautiousness. Are you not overcautious when you assume that you cannot do what the enemy is constantly doing?
Anchorage, Alaska, north of the globe, close to the poles, top of the world, stuck to the flows. Lately, we cold weather struggling. Arctic flows, the record label is independent hustling. I unthawed for permafrost, the ball permanent publishing. I've waited around for long enough, let's get the ball rolling. My speech perfect in the beat and the people smiling, cause they all know when tingling from their head to their feet. Lullaby for the children sleep, anthems for the city streets. Increase my energy every week. I see it now, the stars is lonely, but I'm on my way up. I pause until I wake up. I struggle to get my cake up. I fight with beats and then rewrite my speech until we make up, right? You see, music's like my main bitch. No matter how many times we hit, the love so thick that she won't ever try to break up. And nothing could ever compare. The crowd could only drop their jaws to stare. Watching Joshua take them there, they was never prepared. I lays it down in the vocal booth and travel to get it mixed and mastered, shipped and packaged, and wrapped up in Alaskan plastic. And now I'm manufactured, but they can't clone me. It's Josh Boots, I'm known as Arctic Flows, one and only. Cause I recite nothing but the coldest material. Syllable spiller, I'm coming through your stereo. And I won't let it go until I know you're feeling my position off this written abuse. The rhythm's getting. I'm on a search for my lyrical relevance. Arctic flow sets the precedence. This be the evidence. I'm representing for my folks that's left out in the cold. From 10 units to 1 million souls. Now tell me, can you feel it yet? Did I give you the shit that made you want me? Has the cold weather survival got intoxicated your party? Well, Robert Frost been covering my city for 6 months of the year. I've been hibernated around and waiting, just itching for the snow to clear. Water filtered and liquefied in April and drifted away in May. Clearing summer nights and some of the coldest in AK. And my father wonders why I'm always gone, off the roaming. He told me to get a job, I said don't worry, Pop, I'm on it. Arctic Flow's my only promise. I give it my heart and soul. Till he's departed, watching it grow. It's out of control, they filling my role. Fulfilling my goals, taking my chances out on the road. Cracking the shell, breaking the mold. Fully exposed, I could never be slow. I'm selling this hand to hand. I might be looking at you right now like goddamn, it's $10. Come on, man. What? You ain't feeling it? Well, some of them don't. Most of them will. To those that do, I ripped this out of my mind just to give it to you. So there you have it. I know you've cried. I know you died. I know you tired of watching me illustrate this shit right in front of your eyes. I'm living my life. I'm sick of the lies. Give me the mic. I'll give it a try. My music living and breathing long after my body dies. Cause I recite nothing but the coldest material. Syllable spiller, I'm coming through your stereo. And I won't let it go until I know you're feeling my position off this written abuse. The rhythm's getting. I'm on a search for my lyrical relevance. Arctic flow sets the precedence. This be the evidence. I'm representing for my folks that's left out in the cold. From 10 units to 1 million sold.
Would you not claim to be at least his equal in prowess and act upon the claim? I say try. If we never try, we shall never succeed. This proposition is a simple truth, and it's too important to be lost sight of for a moment. If we cannot beat the enemy where he now is, we never can. It's all easy, but you'll remember my speaking to you of what I call your overcautiousness. Are you not overcautious when you assume that you cannot do what the enemy is constantly doing?
Total Truck Accessory Center. Go check them out at 7700 Homer Drive. They're your one-stop shop for canopies, spray-in bed liners, LED light bars, and more. Total Truck.
The TreehouseAK.com. Located at 341 Boniface Parkway. They're your all-in-one cannabis and CBD store. Ask the bartender today what the strain of the day is to get your 10% off.
Lawn Pro AK, your year-round professional property maintenance. Cutting lawns, but not cutting quality. Hit them up at lawnproak.com.
Double Shovel Cider Company, located off of Arctic and 58. Handcrafted, Alaskan-made cider. They also got a tap room downtown on the corner of 5th and E. Check them out, doubleshovelcider.com.
Anchortown Dogs, located across from the 4th Avenue Theater in front of the historical building. Look for the blue and gold umbrella. Get yourself a legit reindeer dog.
Tailored Restoration, helping Alaskans restore their dreams. Voted #1 in the state since 1972. Water restoration, fire restoration, remodeling, cleaning, anything that you have to do with your home, inside and outside, give those guys a call or check out tailoredrestoration.com.